Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion. And I am Peter. And on the other side of the mic or screen is Watch Party. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Peter?
Doing good. We continue to get some good feedback about our coverage.
Great, great.
Yeah. I mean, I,
I
I know
don't
you've seen
see
some of
most
it.
of it, so
Well, on Twitter, like shout outs to Marvin, who tweeted something out, and we got two of TB3 to like that tweet, so that was really nice. Don't know if they've, listened to any of the coverages yet because they're deep in obliterated, but it's nice to hear because like I had mentioned, like what was it on our coverage of 501 that this is a new era for CKK. You're the new voice joining me on this coverage. So, it's nice to hear the feedback, and all of it's been positive. So that's good.
yeah.
But
Thank you, everyone, for
yes,
listening and
yeah, absolutely. Well,
sticking
and,
around.
and also you're pimping it out on your live streams and
I have.
stuff like that. Yeah. Now, we just we started speaking before we started recording. I mentioned there was no news. Was there anything that you have to report, or anything that you heard,
Um,
rumblings,
from the
rumors?
Miyagi verse.
Yeah,
I think there may be some con appearances coming up.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I so did Liverpool like or someone there was like a British con that proved because Cobra Kai
Manchester.
Nation had like retweeted. I think it was like just today,
Uh,
um I don't know. But like there could be like con announcements if you're into that sort of thing
yeah.
coming
There-
up.
there- there's definitely some of those. I did just
Okay,
drop
yeah,
in
yeah. Liverpool
Liverpool.
tweeted
Okay.
out like, "What's your favorite dojo?" Not announcing anything, but like a random Cobra Kai related tweet, seeming to
Right.
imply like so.
If you guys are tuning into this relatively close to the air date or the time we recorded, this is the same week as New York Comic Con. So that's also
Oh,
coming
that's
up.
right.
Yeah, Ralph's book will be releasing on the 18th of October, and shortly thereafter, he will be starting his book tour.
That's missing a
And
lot of big cities, by the way. Did you like look at that? Like he's skipping like Los Angeles. I think he's skipping New York too. Like
no, I
I don't know.
counted
I
that.
was just like
Yeah.
looking at that because I know people in various cities like who may have wanted to go and but like he wasn't going to any of them and it's like
I feel New York
so
is one of them. And I can pull it up real quick because
yeah.
I'm going to the Seattle one. So if anybody is going to be in the area, I will be attending the Seattle book tour, book
Long
signing.
Island. Okay. Okay, he is in New York City, Chicago, Tulsa. I mean, I guess
Also,
so
well, there you go.
Tulsa. I mean, I I don't know why they
You-
picked that. And then Santa Cruz, California, that's that's what Northern California?
Oh,
Santa Cruz.
yeah, dude,
I
your
if I
guess is
knew
just as
my
good as
geography, but
mine.
I think it is.
California's huge. Uh,
Tulsa.
oh, here we
You
go.
think they
Let's
would
see.
go Texas? Obviously, has a lot more people, but maybe they figure Tulsa is more central location. I don't know. Like
Right
it's
for
only
for
five
the.
stops, all right. So it's
Oh,
only
that's
five
it.
stops. Like you would think
Oh,
you may be, yeah. Like unless they add spots, I don't know. But I guess that's all they have now. So like
yeah,
that's the thing. Like
Chicago.
I
Yeah.
saw it. Um, yeah. So you got like some central areas, like nothing,
Two in
in
New
like the
York. Wow.
southeast or something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like nothing. Yeah, nothing in like Florida or Texas. Like if you're in Texas or like the South, you'd have to probably go to Tulsa. I guess
Right.
is
I guess the other
the
thing,
event.
like, it's kind of worth noting, like, this is a book tour, so it's not like a Comic-Con appearance where, there's some time in between. Just kind of
Mhm.
looking over at the dates, this is literally like within like just a little over a week, so that's got to
Yeah.
be taxing on the body, all that traveling he's got to do. So I can understand that. And Ralph is, one of the quote unquote young guys, as he's referred to themselves on Martin Cove's podcast. So yeah, that sucks, for those that aren't like in the like nearby areas for these for the book tour. But if you can make it, great. If not, then there are future cons. that he'll be appearing in. So yeah, and I know that we have like people that listen from all around the world as well. So that's also got to be a little frustrating on their part that the cast will almost never go to them, right? Like it took a while for them for the cast to even get to UK.
Yeah, yeah, they did finally make it, or at least most of them. But yeah, but even then in
Oops.
UK, I don't know how often they get elsewhere in Europe. And have any of them been down under to Australia?
Not that I
There's
recall. Yeah,
definitely a
not
lot of fans actually down there.
yeah,
And then
absolutely.
there, Brazil, there's so many fans down in South America too. So that's
I
definitely
I feel like Sholo has gone down there before. Like last year, maybe? Does that sound familiar at all?
wow. I don't think so, because even last year they were still a little bit COVID hesitant, so to speak, because they were shooting last year. So
Right, right. Oh man, I feel there was something Sholo was attending
yeah.
down
Well,
there,
Zach
but
and Leo did something down there, didn't they? They had some concert. Um
I don't know.
yeah, no, there was like some concert they had in South America. Um I'm not the biggest follower of this stuff, so like it's hard for me to like remember it
Right,
off the top
right,
of my
right.
head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys follow us on Twitter especially, like we do retweet those. Unfortunately I didn't have any of this information out, but we did just name a few of the locations that Ralph will be stopping at in October. But
Mhm.
yeah, you keep an eye out on some of those Comic Cons that are coming up as well. I know some of the announcements have been made. I think earlier today Amy shared a yeah, I should be able to pull it up rather quickly if it was just earlier today. But she shared something that's gonna have Sholo and Gianni. That is in. Let's see. Okay, it's in Belgium. Your Belgian Comic Con.
Oh, well, there
Yeah.
you go. Get some chocolate while you're there.
Yeah. So there you go. In Flanders Expo Gent. Whatever that means. So there you go. We got two cast members, and this is going to be later on in this month, October. Matter of fact, 22nd to 23rd. That's actually when Ralph is going to be in Seattle, October 22nd. So there we go, Belgian. Okay, so for this review, we are going to be reviewing episode 3 of season 5, titled was it Playing with Fire? I'm kind
Playing
of
with fire.
Playing with Fire. This one is written by Matea Green and directed by Mario Woods. And both I've had previously interviewed. So if you guys want to check out those to kind of learn a little bit more about them, I would definitely love to have them back at some point. Playing with Fire. We don't usually play the name game, but what does that remind you of when you hear the phrase "playing with fire"?
Boy, the trailer, I guess. Like I think playing with fire is kind of a common phrase though. Like you're playing with fire, like don't play with fire. So that's basically like something a parent tells a child or something, or
Yeah,
like as
yeah.
a warning, right? Which
Hmm.
is how Silver uses it in the episode.
Right. I'm trying to think back. Like, is there nothing from part 3? Probably not.
With
Yeah.
fire. Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking like as a reference to the movies.
Yeah. Just
I
wondering if
don't
that's a
think
reference.
so.
Yeah. Probably not on the nose,
Yeah, because he
if it
said it in
is.
the trailer, and if it were, someone would have figured it out by now. Like,
Yeah. I
um,
do wonder if the titles had been chosen when the trailer came out because, that's when we first heard it, right? It was like, fire Danny boy. And so, yeah, I do wonder if it was like, if 503 was already playing with fire, or did they decide that, like, as
I
they.
get, I get the impression it probably was. I mean, I
Okay.
think, I think most of the time they have the titles like generally probably by the time they're shooting, it may have changed a few times, but like if you figure most of the time, it's the titles are probably set at least by the time they're like in post production. So
Oh yeah, definitely in post production because I
yeah,
feel I feel Michael Jonathan Smith he might have mentioned when gosh what was that episode the fall. I believe he mentioned that kind of came a little late, and I
Mhm.
believe was a pitch from Joe Pioroli that kind of the rise and the fall, that how they go hand in hand, like how
Mhm.
earlier in the season four, where they had the first learn
Learn,
stand,
stand, yeah.
yeah, then walk, whichever whatever the title was there. So as
Then
always,
learn
yeah,
fly. Is that what you're
there
thinking?
you go, then learn fly.
And
First learn stand, then
it
learn
was
fly.
originally titled Respect.
Oh,
When they went into production, because that was the one episode 2 changed. So like they apparently they were going back and forth, right? And at one point it was like gonna be Respect, and then I think Joe and Luan said how about first learn stand and then make the next one then learn fly.
yeah.
Wasn't that from their interview with you?
I believe so. The title respect doesn't really quite sound familiar, but you could be right.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I know that because it didn't leak. Frank had posted it,
mm,
so we thought the title was going to be Respect,
or maybe it
because
was.
at the time it was. Yeah, so at the time it was, but then they changed their mind.
They're like, damn it,
So
Frank.
I even had made a video bringing that up. Yeah,
Speaking
so.
of, we did not get the return of the character Frank. I don't know if you knew him. It was Cameron. Cameron M was the actor. He was one of the Miyagi-Do students without a line. He was kind of
Mhm.
tall and kind of skinny. Kind of I guess Miyagi-Do's version of Dieter, maybe, but not quite Dieter. He was the one that I think Brianna called him not Frank, even though his character was Frank. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so Amy wrote for this episode, Daniel and Chozen are having an afternoon of golf at the country club with Louie and Anoush when Terry Silver shows up. That's his move this season, by the way. Showing up in random places he seemingly
Mhm.
has no reason to be at just to screw with Daniel and friends. Oh, and his friends. Terry warns Daniel to stand down, and Chozen unknowingly finds himself walking right into a meme. Miguel is back home making breakfast for his family and promising to never leave again. Carmen shares afterwards with Johnny that it's probably not Miguel's terrible food that's made her nauseous and that she's in fact worried she might be pregnant. Once he actually comprehends what she's saying to him, he goes into a bit of a tailspin of both home and self-improvement. It only takes him a day to be fully on board when she confirms the test was positive and his apartment now looks like an actual adult lives there. Miguel and Sam are both pining, but have different ways of dealing with it and come to very different conclusions in the end. Miguel follows the lead of Eli and Dimitri and heads out to buy jewelry. Sam has a spa day with Yaz and Moon and hits a sensory deprivation tank where she confronts her inner and outer demons as demons, like she's starring starring in a black box theater production of her life. At the end of it all, Sam makes the decision that she needs Sam time, and they sadly break up. After their earlier encounter with Terry, Daniel and Chosen regroup and try to determine if they know any of Terry's former friends. And as a matter of fact, Daniel does. They stalk Mike fucking Barnes to his place of business, and through a series of misunderstandings, several fights happen. Furniture gets broken, and Chosen leaves another group of humans in a pile at the loading dock. We also learn that Mike is as horrified by Karate Kid 3 and most sane people, and even though he wants nothing to do with the plan to take Terry down, he does give them a tip about a lawyer they can call. It backfires on all of them when Terry hears the message, and after telling anyone who will listen that they're playing with fire, he commits literal arson and burns Mike's store to the ground. So there you go.
Very good.
Yeah,
I like
very, very good.
that
Walking
phrase
into a
walks
meme.
into a meme. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty brilliant. First impressions. Let's start off with that. What did you think about this episode?
I think this is like an episode of like Fire and Ice, actually. I think some of the Mike Barnes stuff I absolutely love. As we'll get into it, I think it's some of the best stuff of the season, even. Such a long anticipated comeback. A lot of
Mm.
the other stuff I'm not really in love with. And at the end of last episode, because I was talking how I thought Mexico should have gone at least 3 episodes, and you asked me, well, do you want to explain it? I said, well, I'll talk about it next time. So this is the time where I'll also talk about in Watch Party's crazy mind. Had Mexico gone a third episode, what gets taken out and how it gets rearranged. So, but I'll tell you that too. So
All right, fair enough. So let's see here. We start off at the country club. Daniel, Chosen, Louis, and Anush just got done playing golf. Chosen is counting money, and Louis implies that they were hustled by Chosen. And this is where Silver walks in as well.
so I was like looking at the money, and it didn't like look like it was a whole lot of money for as upset as Louis is. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if it's like the pride or something. And I was trying to figure out like what were they playing, like a couple bucks a hole, $5 a hole. Um, I
Were
didn't
you
know.
able?
And then like the funny, yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna ask if you were able to make out the bills. I didn't get a chance to try to look
There's
at that.
there are some 20s, but like there's like ones in there too. So it's like ones with like fives and then like a single 20 or something. So it's like, and it's like if it's the two of them, like what was he out? Like 10-15 bucks.
Right. It's just it's a
But I,
friendly game, and
yeah.
yeah, maybe that's all Louis had that afternoon.
And I was thinking, he's like, I Googled it, I knew it. And I'm like, well, then why did he go along with the bet? So I think like he's upset at himself, like, because it
They
was one of those, like,
right,
he
they
went
probably fell
along
for
with the
it. I
bet.
mean, right,
Mhm.
because Chosen, said that it was beginner's luck, and I do wonder, like, did they keep it close, or like did Audition and Louis get a little cocky, right? And they're like, oh hey, let's why don't we double it, right?
And
And
yeah, and did like Daniel give his share the money? Were they playing like teams or something? Like Daniel doesn't seem upset. Like I assume it's like teams or something somehow. I don't know.
yeah,
But like Daniel gave all the money to Chosen. I figured like that was his payment for coming. Like,
it could be.
you can
I mean,
hustle Louis and
I do wonder if like Daniel, he's like in a mood, right? Like we saw what happened at the end of episode 2, and you can probably fill in the gaps yourself. Chosen comes back to the house, and Daniel's like, "Whoa, what happened?" And he's like, "I took care of all 6 senseis. Like you don't have to worry about Terry Silvery anymore. I told him,
laid down the law. Yeah.
yeah, I drew a line, and I said, don't cross this. Don't mess with the Russos. No more expansion." And then that's it, so
He
so so
feels
so Daniel thinks it's all, yeah, taken care of, I guess.
I think you're right. I think the intention is to show Daniel maybe a little more relaxed. Maybe, hey, this is gonna work. Like we drew a line. He lost his senseis and stuff.
Yeah.
So and then it goes to. It's also worth. I think that the beginner's luck, we could call that an Easter egg. Maybe to Mr. Miyagi,
Ah,
from
yes.
when Daniel caught the fly. He's so.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. They've been
Mhm.
sprinkling in a lot of those a little bit more subtly.
Yeah,
At
it
least,
is subtle. Like
yeah.
you can miss it. Like in fact, I only just picked it up on my last rewatch. I thought, wait a second, Miyagi said that. So,
Right. Yeah, I
um,
didn't even think about that. But just kind of like how I mentioned in our review of the last episode where I said, Terry Silver says, grab your glass. I want to show you something,
mhm.
like on paper, like that, that's almost, doesn't really mean anything to like a casual viewer, but for someone like me who watched like Karate Kid 2 endlessly when I was growing up, I was like, oh man, it sounds like Chosen. I want to show you. Come here, I want to show you something. But we all kind of see what we want to see. But some of my favorite moments here from Louis, where the Chosen kind of does like that stare like he did in season 3, and it did like what was Anush say? It's like, hey, you don't want to. What is something about an Okinawan assassin? Like, you don't want to upset
Oh
him or
yeah,
whatnot.
trash
Yeah,
talk a karate assassin.
yeah.
he's,
Louis
he's the
like,
karate assassin. I like
oh
that.
man,
Yeah.
Mr. Chosen, I meant no disrespect at all. I promise. Like, but he just did it from total 180 rather quickly. But it was pretty funny. I like how he calls him Mr. Chosen because it's Taguchi, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Um, so Terry Silver walks in,
Mhm.
and like Daniel brings up the whole sensei search. Like, do you think he should have just left that alone?
I mean, isn't that the theme of the Miyagi verse? Daniel should have left well and out
Right.
mode.
Yeah, yeah. At least
Yeah,
for him, yeah.
yes,
That I mean,
yeah,
it's on brand.
yeah.
But
It is in character, very, very in
yeah,
character. Yeah, he did like he just wants to maybe rub it in or something, but like Silver's appearance, like it's like a mystery or something. Like it's that creepy, ominous, and this is the first time, we get that this season, which will almost become a running theme, or of Silver's sort of creepy and ominous appearances randomly. Um,
yeah,
but
yeah. No,
yeah,
mm,
and Daniel wants to rub it in, I guess, a little.
yeah, absolutely. Did are you familiar with this expression "cast his belly" that Silver mentions?
Like the cause of war. So
Yeah, yeah. It's so I looked it up. It just says an active situation or situation provoking or justifying war. So yeah, because Silver is saying like, basically what you guys just did, one could say that you're provoking or justifying war. So
mhm.
in context, like you can figure it out, but I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
Um
it's Latin. That's in the genitive. Uh, yeah, that's Latin. So
my next note here, I wrote Silver giving Daniel just as many chances to stand down as Kreese is giving Johnny to rejoin Cobra Kai.
you see why they got
Yeah,
along so well for all
I
those
guess so.
years.
Yeah, yeah, really. So I do like this. I mean, this was like if we remember back to May when the very first trailer comes out, gasoline
Mhm.
was just the word of the year, really.
Yeah, I am gasoline, right?
Yeah, boom.
Mhm.
I love Terry Silver's expression. It's almost kind of like how I wrote down like, oh, that's cute. That's very much his like his facial reaction. And then he's like, put their drinks on my tab. Like
Yeah.
I could have used like a right before Terry Silver walks away, just one more look at Chozen, shakes his head, goes boom, and just walks off. You know,
Boom.
just kind of like
He says it into
yeah,
the drink, like boom,
right.
like as he's
Yeah,
drinking. Yeah.
yeah, that would have been really
Yeah.
good. So I
To
do like that.
Yeah, I
Um,
like how Terry Silver shifts, right? He's all like serious, almost threatening, and then it's like, yeah, put the drinks on my tab, and he's back to like friendly, nice guy, always buy your enemies drinks, apparently. So,
yeah, well,
um,
I mean, but
yeah, like
it's
that shift, and that's what makes
right.
Terry Silver ominous,
It's in
scary.
public, right? So it's in public.
Right,
There's all
right.
these eyes. So we're
Mhm,
gonna see this in the next episode as well. He
mhm,
definitely puts on a different face here when all eyes are on them. Yeah.
mhm.
Let's see. We are at the Diaz's, and Miguel has prepared breakfast for all. Um, I'm just gonna jump ahead a little bit. One of my favorite sequences in this entire episode is Yaya poking at the food. Her like her face is very much like,
Yeah.
how in God's earth did this?
Well, I made a note like he burnt the toast, and like that's not hard. You just put it in the toaster, and even if you do burn it, you can remake it. Like he's like, well, I this is it, so I got to go with it, I guess. Like,
Just oh yeah, I would have talked to Rose about that sequence. Just like she's like flipping the toast. What did he
this
do?
is I think her only scene this season, right?
No, no,
Um,
the cowboy scene later on
oh right. Yeah, I forgot.
in
Like I keep
five.
I keep thinking, then remembering, then forgetting again. Yeah,
I
she's
feel
got one
she's
more.
in like
She's in, yeah,
two or three, maybe three.
right.
Yeah, the third one's probably like really small, obviously, but
Mhm.
yeah. The thoughts on this? Carmen. She's just they're all glad that Miguel's back, right? And he says
Right.
something like he's never
There's
going to do that again.
Yeah, basically they have like three lines, like Rosa, yeah, she's happy he's back. um and then Carmen says, I should have told you the truth, how I left your father. And Miguel says, like, you did it for me, I understand that now, which is like just a very blunt, like direct line. And like and then that's it for all of Mexico. Like basically the Mexico storyline is now complete. Like it'll never even really be mentioned again.
At
um
least for the season,
which is
but
what
yeah.
which like I felt like, yeah, which was left me hanging, because I was like it was after season 4. It was such a big moment, and changed all of season 4, like for setup it just wasn't enough payoff for me. That's why I
Right.
think they could have made it into 3 episodes. And then just all this, they would this scene wouldn't happen because they would still be in Mexico, and Carmen telling Johnny she may be pregnant, that just moves off into episode 4. But
Yeah, I just
um
because I think we mentioned it, or at least I did in the last episode review. I said, man, Carmen's really insistent on telling Johnny like he's in a lot of trouble and because of his father,
mhm,
this, that, and the other thing. And so, yeah, I just thought it was kind of again, I get it. We want to bring them back as soon as possible to kind of start all this other stuff. But I do wonder at some point did they decide to kind of pivot, or like just trim down so much. I don't know. Yeah, because yeah, at this point I haven't spoken with anybody yet.
yeah.
Yeah, from the
Yeah,
show.
I'll
So
bring that up more in as we go along. So,
okay. Let's
by
see
the way,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
Johnny mentions the graffiti. He's taking off "Let's Be Water" graffiti.
yeah.
Tisk tisk.
Now
Yeah, that should stay.
is it that hard to remove the spray paint, or like did Mark use like some special editing tools? Like Johnny could remove it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know.
yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's like some yeah, I guess spray paint usually like already has some adhesive like in the paint itself, obviously to make it stick. So yeah, I don't know. Johnny really doesn't know that it's illegal to deface things.
Yeah, that's your classic Johnny. Like,
Yeah.
like even the way he says it the way like a law would be written. It should be illegal to deface someone else's property. Like, when
Like
does Johnny speak like so formally like that? like
this,
like like
this is
like he's reading the statute.
right. Well, this is one of like the few examples where I have mentioned like, if this was a movie version of Cobra Kai, right? Like, this is something that they would have in it, right? Because it's just so cheesy, but it's so Johnny,
Mhm.
peak Johnny. They're like, oh, it should be illegal, but it is. Uh, yeah. So let's see here. Let's see, Quiet Long Ride Home. No, who does he say that to? Does he say that to Carmen?
Oh yeah, to
Yeah, yeah.
Carmen.
Oh yeah, between the two.
Wait,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
does he say it here or to the next scene?
I believe he said,
Because
yeah,
she runs off. No, yeah, I think it's in the next scene because she runs off because she gets sick. Um,
right. And then at first we all think that, it's the food, right? Because then he mentions like, oh, I should have ordered takeout,
yeah, you should next time order in or something.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're at the LaRussos, and Sam is sitting on the couch, looking very comfortable and snacking. Anthony enters and questions if she's eaten the entire box of grape Uncrustables. Is that something you ever had before? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I've seen it at the store. I've never bought it. Um, like this is the funny thing is so like I just like look at this and like so Sam has a big like a venti or even more Starbucks there.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm just thinking if she's hungry, why didn't she get a breakfast sandwich at Starbucks? Like, why did she only get a drink? So she came back and that would have been better
Hmm.
if she
What if
ordered food at
somebody
Starbucks.
it's possible that maybe Daniel or Amanda brought some home and brought her the one drink.
I guess if they're going out and coming back, but I don't know. I get the impression like she just got in her car and went and got it herself, I guess.
Yeah.
Ordered it on her app and picked it up, but she should have got something to eat.
Well,
Instead of
I
eating the
mean,
Uncrustables, because those things like freak me out. I'll never eat it.
is that
Like,
is that right? Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
no, no.
just to kind of comment on the Starbucks there, like we frequent Starbucks. I probably have maybe one Starbucks a weekend.
Hmm.
Like on Sundays usually. But
Hmm.
like the wife will go grab like one for all the adults in the house here. But I don't think any of us actually eat any of the pastries from there. We usually.
Yeah, I used to have Starbucks almost every day, like grab it on the way to work or something. I would just get the coffee, but actually some of their breakfast sandwiches I think are really good. I would
Mm,
recommend the spinach feta wrap. If they have it available, they don't always have it available, but like it's actually like it's not a lot of calories. It's good. It fills you up. It'll keep you to lunch. So
mm.
that's why like I'm team Starbucks, or at least I used to be. I haven't, unfortunately, since the pandemic I have haven't gotten Starbucks much, but
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Also the reason I only have Starbucks like once a week, but because I usually I drive by McDonald's and we have a pretty nice one, and
Mhm.
I'll usually get like a iced hazelnut coffee from there, with a couple extra pumps.
Yeah,
So
I recommend actually McDonald's Starbucks or McDonald's coffee is like the unsung hero of the coffee world,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's another
I'm hearing that
thing.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing
Yeah.
that too. So it's all related, you guys. Let's see.
Sam says to him, she's like, there was only two left, slow your roll. And I'm like, okay, she's been spending too much time with Dimitri because that's what Dimitri says, slow your
Is that
roll.
right?
If you remember
Interesting.
from the Halloween dance, they were gonna go dance with the drama girls, and Dimitri's like, slow your roll. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh my
interesting.
God.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
now Sam is picking up Dimitri's language, and I'm like, oh boy.
Or maybe, because she's hanging out with Yaz a lot, maybe Dimitri's around a lot too, you know?
That's
So
that.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Like Yaz is now saying it. She's
Right.
Yaz is like slow
Yeah,
your roll, and
right.
now she got Sam saying it. Slow your roll.
You think Dimitri's getting a little aggressive romantically, and she's like, slow your roll, like say to throw something back at him that he says to her or something.
Well, in their relationship, it was the other way around. So,
Right, right. Oh, that's
um,
right. Yeah, she likes she wants him to save a seat, especially this one.
one
Yeah.
other comment about Sam here, um, like when he talks about, so he starts talking about Kenny or something, and she's like, I don't want to hear the word karate for the rest of the summer. It'll be too soon, or like she doesn't want to hear it. And what really strikes me is like the last time we saw her, she was literally training karate by herself. Like Daniel shut down the dojo, and she's like, I'm gonna go in the home dojo and still train. So like I'm not really getting, to me, this line comes out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Like, and I
Okay.
feel like this could have been set up a little bit. Like it's like they're trying to just force this storyline where suddenly she's like, oh, I don't even want to be attached to karate. But like there's nothing that set this up. Like the last time we saw her, she was literally training. And like in her conversation with Miguel, he's like, there's other things about that are important about karate, but that was like coming from him. Like I don't see where suddenly she gets this big anger towards karate. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
even hear about it because she went to her dad. He shut down the dojo. She went to her dad and is like, I can fight. Don't do this. Like I can fight. Like she was pushing it. So now when she says, if I don't hear the word karate again for the rest of the summer, that'll be too soon. Like that's what just happened. Like it's like they
Yeah.
just had a new story for her and just here we go. Um,
I wonder if something got cut. That would actually make more sense, like just like just one scene, or even some dialogue, that made her kind of flip like that, right? Like after you pointed that out, yeah, I feel there's got to be something that was chopped, you know.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. It just
hmm,
strikes me as like they're trying to start this storyline and like I feel like Sam's story at this part of this season is very confused. And I mean that necessarily. Like she's a little confused, but I also think the writers were confused and
hmm,
they're like throwing different stuff in there. And this is like the first part of it, like where she went from I want to fight, I can fight, and she's practicing on her own to literally the next time we see her she doesn't even want to hear the word like out
right.
of nowhere. So
Yeah. So yeah. So to me, I feel something was trimmed then.
mm,
If that's the case, because like I always reference like season 4, how like again, Joe Pirelli mentioned that their episode Party Time 408 was originally like about 45 minutes, and they cut it down to like 37. So this was probably a very ambitious season, and I can see every episode being trimmed, and maybe that was something. But yeah, maybe that's something I can remember next time I speak to somebody
mhm.
about this particular sequence, or not this particular sequence, but maybe Sam's kind of story arc here.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
I
Well,
did
I
mention,
gotta give
yeah,
props to Anthony for his another one of your boyfriends run away. That was
yeah,
funny. And then at the end of this, Sam like calls and asks for brunch, and all I can think is, didn't she just eat those? Like, how many meals does she eat? So
Yeah, I kind of took that as like she just wants to get away from
Yeah,
anything that reminds her of karate, just kind of like what she just mentioned.
brunch. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I kind of do the same thing too, where I have Siri kind of type things out for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that like Sam, she also looks like she's giving zero fucks, just like the expression on her face. But I
Hmm.
also like the little callback to the milk prank, which is
Oh,
kind of
mhm.
becoming Anthony's like Applebee story, where
Yeah.
like he gets to like kind of talk about it, but then like never finishes it. Like, how did that
Like
happen?
they're
We're
trying
never
to
gonna find out.
explain it away.
Yeah.
Like to them it was so funny. Like, how did you do that? Like, and they're trying to like vaguely explain it away. It's
Yeah.
like because since this was written before four came out, like
Oh, right. Yeah.
I feel like they were thinking in their heads, so many of the audience would be like, that doesn't make any sense. How do you get milk in there? Like they were anticipating that reaction. So they were kind of like explaining it away somehow. Like
Yeah.
just
I
in a
guess
humorous way.
the other thing that we is worth mentioning is that we keep hearing about how Netflix wanted the season 5 in the same year, right? To come
Mm-hmm.
out in
The
September.
September, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, something that like kind of blew my mind, I guess, because I never really thought about it, was my second interview with Julia Macchio, how she was talking about how it's crazy that, she's like flying back to film for season 5, yet nobody's even supposed to know that she was in season 4 yet.
Right,
It's
yeah.
because it was
Mm-hmm.
all filmed in the same year. So I was just like, oh man, so yeah, there's not only that they had to keep that under wraps, but then also like writing stuff for season 5 without knowing kind of like the reactions
The
of what would happen in season
reaction, yeah.
4. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
so
thinking that too. Because it's not just they wrote it and then shot it. Like
mhm,
season four, they wrote or had really gone through most of the process before they um before three came out, so they because they were doing the writers room,
mhm.
but then three did come out when before they went into production, so they at least I could see some of the reaction and see what hit and what didn't, and etc. But yeah, for five, they wrote it and shot it before four came out, so
Right.
yeah, you don't know like if they're just anticipating on what will hit or what will not. Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting question to like the creative team, well, what that was like. So
Yeah, and that therein lies maybe what we could have found out more about Sam and
mhm,
her headspace right now. You know.
mhm.
Let's see. At Miyagi-Do, we're in the middle of a conversation between Daniel and Chozen. Chozen appears to have some back problems and doesn't like the couch in the guest room. In the conversation, it sounds like Daniel thinks that they're getting to silver and thinks that that's the reason he was at the country club.
Yeah, well, the first off, if they have a guest room but they put Robbie in the back dojo, so I was thinking, was Daniel worried about getting Robbie too close to his daughter at the
Could
time?
be. I think so. I mean, that's fair. That's fair, right? That's it,
But
it's
then he
it's
but then he did then they trained karate all summer, and
it
the
did.
idea like didn't even cross his mind, like, and
Let's
left them home
see.
alone together.
Uh,
Oh,
that was that season 2 that he was living
yeah, that
there?
was season two. Yeah.
So that was also before, obviously, 209, where Sam was drunk at Johnny's apartment.
Right, right.
So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is. Teenage boy, and he's got the teenage girl at home, and so I guess I could see that. I'd
So
probably do
he
the same
thought it
thing.
initially, but didn't think about it for the rest of the season. That's
I guess
that's
so.
that's what's
Yeah,
funny to me because
yeah.
they basically rolled around in the dirt all summer long. I mean, okay, I'm being exaggerating, but they
Right,
they
right.
they were in the water and
Sure,
all
sure,
summer
sure.
long. But as long as he's in the back dojo, it's okay.
Yeah,
um,
it's absolutely. I mean, there's just more distance between the two. Is all
mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that Chosen was like too badass that his back hurts from the couch and
Mhm.
fighting six senseis, you know. And everything Daniel has to say about Terry Silver, Chosen has an answer, right? Like, oh well, if he does this, and Chosen's like, well, then we will do this. It just
Mhm.
sounds like Chosen. Like I think he has like his version of like that show Kung Fu, the legend continues. Like he's just like not globe trotting, but yeah, just traveling around the world and learning things.
Mhm.
In your recent video, which we'll pimp out at the towards the end here, where your videos about the fight between Chosen and Silver at the end,
Mhm.
which I cannot wait till we get to that episode. But you mentioned something like, Chosen, he was able to recognize, Tang Sudo and throws it back. So he knows things, but like how
Mhm.
and where, so there's
Mhm.
all these stories that we don't even know yet about Chosen, but yeah, I think he's worked all types of jobs as well.
Mhm.
But he even says like, because Daniel mentions that Terry, well, Chosen was there for it, but Terry Silver said, you have friends you can call on, and I have a lot of friends too. So Chosen brings up like, well, who's a friend that you know? And then we get this big drop, Mike fucking Barnes.
Mike fucking
So
Barnes, yeah.
I did think it was interesting that they included Mike Barnes kicking Jessica in the flashback, and I think that was to emphasize how bad he was. If well, for those that didn't see the third movie.
Yeah, it's basically a sizzle reel of like the worst of Barnes, right? Like, so
Right.
it's like, your karate's a joke, and that was actually one of my prop bets at one point. So I
Yeah.
guess the answer is Daniel, but yeah, um, but yeah, Mike fucking Barnes. Yeah, it was definitely like the worst of Daniel. And if you think of it, then that this is showing you Daniel's headspace, because he's thinking Silver. Daniel is paranoid. He's on that way, so he's thinking the worst of Mike Barnes,
Mhm. That's
which is
right. Yeah,
pretty
right.
much all he knows. All he knows of Mike Barnes too. So
Yeah. Do you recall if any of those flashbacks was from the cliff?
Um, no, I don't think they had the cliff.
Yeah.
They did show Barnes with Silver, and I think Brianna mentioned, how does Daniel know that? But I don't think Daniel's remembering Barnes going into Silver, but he's just kind of remembering yeah, I think, yeah, he's just like remembering his bad moments. I think like the flashback is also like action moments of like
Yeah.
where they were fighting or something. So like, so it's like the action moments with various dialogue, not necessarily from different scenes of like
Mhm.
him, criticizing or whatever, his
Right.
yelling at Daniel.
Right. Yeah. I do. I just remember from part three where like Daniel tries to hit him, like, "Don't do that."
Mhm.
That Barnes says to him. We're back at the Diaz's, and Carmen has some big news for Johnny. She's been feeling sick lately and tells Johnny that she is late. And very 80s, 90s trope, TV trope, movie trope, where it's just like, late, late, late for what?
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
This is like, it's decent, but like I think like this is where well, I wrote it in here in my notes. Do you know what happened on December 8th, 1952? I guess
Mm,
not.
no.
That's when the episode of I Love Lucy aired, where Lucy was telling Ricky she's pregnant. Like it's just like it's a very common sitcom, storyline that's been done many, many times before. So like
So,
I know they do it, but like, yeah, so it's not like most of this is like, yeah, they're tropes. It's not necessarily original. Um,
you
so
do you think when the baby is born, we're gonna get the Johnny, my water broke. Oh, we'll get you a new one.
yeah, it happens all the time. Did Miguel
Yeah.
kick it? I had him practicing on your bottle. Like,
Right. Oh yeah,
great.
we'll
We
just
just
get you
wrote the
one. Yeah.
dialogue. We just
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
but
We have it
yeah,
recorded first.
I don't
You
know.
know.
But yeah, in the obligatory, like, oh, but we use protection. It's not, nothing's guaranteed. Yeah, actually I wrote a note. Like, if this were something, it would have been interesting if she had like thought about this in advance of telling him. And like she said, yeah, Johnny, we use protection, but you're so manly. Nothing could stop you from impregnating me. Like if
So,
she like played to his ego a little,
well, I
it
mean,
might have been interesting. Like, I even noted, like, she says everything kind of matter of factly. Like was she thinking about it? Is she nervous telling him? Like, I guess not, because that she doesn't, but um like I was kind of an interesting delivery. Um
oh sure. I mean, no, to kind of like slightly piggyback what you were saying about like
mhm,
if it'd be funny if Carmen kind of played to his ego or whatnot. I
mhm.
did mention to some of the members of the admin team. I was just like, oh, I mean, for it to get defective, Johnny must have really, you know.
Must have really like
Go all in.
went hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
he follows his own
indeed.
advice. What can
Yeah,
you say?
indeed.
Oh.
Went hard and all in. Absolutely, yes. But I do love how Carmen, she immediately picks up on like he's kind of freaking out, tries to play down the sickness. Oh, don't even worry about it. I haven't even taken the test yet.
Having it,
But
right.
I love everything about here. It's like, oh, okay, let's pee on a stick, or you pee on a stick.
Yeah,
That was good. Um,
right.
I like how she tries to get up and then he goes to help her up. She's like, I'm fine. He goes, yeah, me too, 100%. And I'm like, oh, is that like his like Johnny's version of like Hundo P? What the kids say like Hundo P? Like 100%.
Do the kids say that? I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I guess that's something I remember from like Schitt's Creek. Like Hundo P.
Oh.
Was something that I think was in one episode.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't say it. I mean, maybe the kids say it. I mean, 100, the kids say 100, but I like how Johnny does say that,
Mhm.
because it doesn't sound like Johnny. Me too, 100%,
Mhm.
100%. And then I like how, but he drops the keys. I don't know if he's like just lightheaded. He drops the keys and it's like,
He's got a lot going through his
yeah,
head, at the
oh
moment.
yeah.
Like,
Well, because
mhm.
isn't it right here where he's also kind of questioning, like, oh, that's good, or was this bad, right? Isn't this the same scene?
um,
I think so. Yeah, because he doesn't know if it's good or bad, and I think that's what kind of clues Carmen in. Like, you know what? I haven't even taken the test yet.
yeah, that could be that scene. I don't
Yeah.
remember that line, but
Okay. We cut to Eli. He is finishing up getting another tat. This time from a young gal named Aurora, and Dimitri and Miguel are with him, and the girls are at brunch.
yeah. So the first thing I noticed about this is it opens with the tattoo parlor rubbing his chest, and I'm like, okay, they're fan baiting the fangirls of having a girl rubbing, Hawk's chest there for all
Possibly,
their fantasies.
yeah. Well, because okay, so I have tattoos. I got
Hmm.
a big old phoenix on my back, which Hawk has a hawk on his back. I have
Hmm.
a lotus on my left arm. Hawk has a lotus on his chest. Um,
Are you
and
claiming to be Hawk?
I mean, okay. To be fair, this was filmed. Okay, well, this is episode 3, right? And they
Yeah.
started filming around September, so we're thinking like later, probably late September, early October when this was filmed. I
Hmm.
got my tattoo in October. The same, around, roughly the same time, probably after it happened though.
Hmm.
So I'm not claiming like, who did what first. It's just coincidental in my opinion. But it's just the way she does do it. Usually you cover that up immediately afterwards as well,
Hmm.
after adding, the ointment or whatever it is you want to
Hmm.
put on there.
Right.
I do remember from a previous interview with Jacob that we did, where he mentioned that the actor who played Rico was an actual tattoo artist. So I don't know if this young lady Aurora, if she is just like somebody standing in to play this character, or does she have any kind of experience as well? But yeah, I mean, but you could be right. The whole rubbing could be something for the hawk stands.
Yeah. And he got
Um,
a lotus. I just the note I made is he's like Dimitri's like you're all in on Miyagi Do, but like we the audience aren't. We haven't had actually one full scene of him training with Miyagi Do ever since he joined. Um,
that's a good point.
if
None of
you
the way.
should, yeah.
Yeah, I feel I hope I got the person correct here. I feel it was on Twitter, and I think it was from Mo, who like tweeted something out like something to the effect of like uh where it's like nobody, right? And then there's no dialogue, and then Hawk, hey, my tattoo's a lotus, he's just explaining like nobody asked you, he's just like,
Right.
hey, okay, cool, cool
Mhm.
tattoo or whatnot, and then like Hawk just goes into like this like a whole like, oh, this is what this signifies and all these things. So I just thought that was kind of funny because she's kind of right, like no one asked you. But he explains it anyway. But yeah, really interesting. I like it how it's different but same. It's too easy to just kind of copy, right? The Lotus that like they already have it on their gi.
Mhm.
Um, well, I guess yeah, we haven't seen him train yet, but he did win for Miyagi-Do last season. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was like in the montage and such, like, but it was very, very minimal, which was like my complaint last season
mm,
is
okay.
I mean, like Hawks, like never really got him in Miyagi-Do until the tournament,
Yeah,
but that was just sort of something I noticed.
fair.
And then
This is probably not a nod, but there's a line about because like Miguel, he's just kind of like sitting over on the chairs by himself, really quiet, and uh, something about like Dimitri, maybe it was Miguel that brought up like the car ride with Robbie or whatnot, and Dimitri has like this line about like, oh well, there's always like a fight between you two, like John Wick or whatnot. I don't think this was intentional, but um, Mark Canonizato, who doubled for Sholo and Ralph in seasons 2 and 3, was he also for season 4? I don't think for season 4, but he was in I think John Wick 3. So
oh,
yeah, nice little tie there. If it was intentional, um, but yeah, this is where we get some text messages. Sam texting Miguel basically saying we got to talk, and just kind of going back and forth and conflicting information from each side of the friends here. Which again, in my interview with Gianni, he kind of talks a little bit about this scene.
okay. I haven't heard that part of it yet, but
Hmm.
from Johnny, but like my take on this scene was like this is like the most sitcom plot we've ever gotten in this show, where
Hmm.
like you got the girls on one side and the guys on the other side, and like they're freaking out about what to say and ooh, what does that mean? This is like like you've seen this so many times, like in various shows. Like it's so like to me, it's a little disappointing because it's the first time I think where Cobra Kai actually feels like a sitcom, like they're using traditional sitcom storylines and um so and it's very also low stakes, like
Yeah.
going back, which is why I said like give me 3 episodes in Mexico, because it's like Hayden said, and I even pulled up his tweet. We didn't want to separate Miguel, Johnny, and Robbie from the other characters for too long, so like they were in a hurry to get Miguel back here to read text messages, and like last episode his dad pulls out a gun, he's going crazy, he's freaking out. In this episode, he literally has a freak out over the lack of an emoji on the text
Right,
message,
right.
and it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a big contrast. And it's such a
It
big
is.
contrast. And I just think like we had to cut that Mexico storyline so short so we can have this scene of Miguel reading text messages and freaking out over emojis. And I'm like, come on, guys, like give me more Mexico, and this can all get cut. You can lose all of this. Like it's
Yeah.
not needed. Like I would have had more Mexico.
And
So
and
sorry, that's
actually,
that's
yeah,
that's
no.
the watch party rant, but like that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that I mean, and I think you're absolutely valid in that. You mentioned the gun. Like I always forget about the gun, because
Yeah.
it's just so quick. He pulls
It,
it
it is
out all
quick, yeah.
nonchalant,
And
sits it
like
on the
he doesn't
table.
mention it, he doesn't say
Yeah,
anything, so like it's
right.
like there, but he doesn't mention it. Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing too. Like, so that's why, like for me, it's like, is this gonna come back? Like, I feel like it has to because also, what are you supposed to do? Like let's say that it is gonna come back, the whole Mexico storyline or Miguel's father. Say it comes back. If we had Miguel sitting there during this tattoo sequence, and it's like, oh, well, something on your mind? Like, yeah, man, my dad, like, I
He's
met
not
him.
over it,
Yeah,
right?
he
Like,
yeah pulls
yeah,
out the
like
gun. Yeah, so
yeah.
that kind of like tips the writer's hands, right? Like, oh, this is gonna come back, right? Because they're still talking about it. But
Yeah.
but I think like in real, quote unquote real world, that should still be on Miguel's mind. Like he
Yeah,
has
it would
gun
be.
knowledge. He
Like
has never seen
it
a gun yet.
yeah, that's like what I said in the breakfast scene. It's like, okay, Mexico's storyline is completely done. Like there was 3 lines and that was it. Like it's done. They didn't ask. In fact, when by the way, when it cuts to the girls at the brunch, Sam's holding up her phone. And if you read those text messages, so I checked it out. He says he messaged her a couple days ago, like, I'm coming home. She didn't reply. Hey, I'm home. I want to see you. She didn't reply. And then it's in the morning, like, we should talk. And that's where like the scene picks up. But like Sam also never asked him anything like how to go with your dad, what happened. I'm glad
Mm,
you're safe, or none of that. Like, and that's
okay.
that's like a Sam thing. But like it's just like the whole yeah.
So
That's
see, so now this is like, so I never got a chance to look at that, and this is me kind of filling in the gaps now from what we just previously talked about Sam and the word karate. Like, she did hang up on Miguel because like that whole conversation, right? So we won't get too
hmm
much into that because we've already spoken about that. Then we know that she called Carmen. That's how Carmen knew kind of where he was, or at least he was fine. And maybe that's what it is, like, the sequence where she's at her house snacking and just like, over it because of like, oh, Miguel's coming back. I don't even know what to do at this point. And maybe that's what it is, like, seeing Miguel will remind her of karate. I don't know if this is like a satisfying explanation, but it's just kind of like I feel that can all kind of play into it.
Yeah, I mean it's not satisfying for me. It
No.
seems like a heck of a
Yeah,
leap. Like
yeah,
it's some leaps there, but
yeah.
like to try and figure it out because like yeah, she didn't follow up on it or just ask him anything. Like like how is it she associating with karate? Because like he didn't say anything about karate. In fact, he said I there's other things than karate. So why is that turn her off? Because in the moment she would be like, "What the heck are you talking about? I'm ready to fight. I just told my dad." Like it
Right.
seems like it would be the opposite response.
It
Um,
the timeline of this episode, it is confusing because, like when she goes into the pod later, she does see Miguel in his red gi, because that was like the last time she saw him, right? So I guess, right, the last image of him physically was at the karate tournament. I don't know.
mhm, yeah,
Yeah, we'll see if we can get some answers down the line.
right.
Um,
Um,
let's
but
see. Yeah.
one other note about the scene that's funny
Hmm.
is it actually ends up being kind of Dimitri and Yasmin texting each other as like
Right,
Miguel
right.
and
Yeah.
Sam. So that is kind of like funny. It's a look into Dimitri and Yasmin's relationship.
Yeah. I
So
I like it
there's a funny
yeah.
thing about it.
Oh, sure. For what it's worth, I like it because I'm an emoji guy. Like I feel if it's necessary, I'll add an emoji. I mean, you and I, we message and you see I like to react as well. Like I've
Yeah,
had that
you are a
conversation.
React guy for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah.
re I really am.
You actually
Eh,
got me into it because
oh, is that right?
I would have never have done it like ever, but like you were always doing it, so now like I do it and everything.
I mean, you don't
So
have to, but I mean, because I can see when you see the message, but like I don't remember if this was just like a conversation I had with the Cobra guys, or was this actually on a pod of theirs. But we've all discussed how I like to react, and they make fun of me for doing so because they don't. And then I'm like, yeah, but like when I do, I'm always like doing that so you know that I saw what you said, because
yeah,
I
it helps. It helps.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think they also, like, now knowing that, I think they purposely sometimes don't react just to mess with me,
Call it
because they
reacting with a
yeah,
purpose. They're
right, yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see here. We go to Daniel and Chosen. They're staking out Mike Barnes's home, and we get the reintroduction of Karate's bad boy.
Mhm.
Definitely a couple questions. How does Daniel know where he lives?
um maybe Chosen found him and Chosen's a
Okay,
karate assassin
I will buy
because I
that.
don't
I
have
will
an
buy
answer.
that.
I
Yeah.
I will say like I thought in my head like Barnes lives an hour away or something. Like he's not like up the street. So like we're in my head wherever they are, it's like it's not the immediate neighborhood. It's somewhere like an hour away or something. So I feel like it was a bit of a drive here, which makes it
You,
harder that he found where he lives. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it'd be funny if somehow, like, Daniel found out, like, oh, he bought a car from one of my lots or something like that, and pulled like the papers or whatever. There's an address on it. But what did you think about the reintroduction of one Mike Barnes here?
I think it may be my favorite of least of the what do you call them side characters or however the my favorite reintroduction.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. Just because like I don't know, like the funny thing is like I was never one of those like, oh Mike Barnes, I can't wait,
Mhm.
diehards. Like it's like to me it was just like, you know, he comes when he comes, like but like when it I guess like with knowing he was coming, obviously they released it beforehand, and like the way they do it, it's just so yeah, yeah, it has like an epic feel. Like it's an epic reveal here. Yeah, I love it. It just hits all the emotions for me. So
Yeah, I at some point I was getting a little like Mike Barnes fatigue from the fandom, not from the character, but
yeah,
just
like
how,
see, yeah, that's the
yeah,
thing. Like I think
just
like because since at least season two or something, like my joke has been like Sean Kanan has been confirmed back more times than Ralph Macchio. Because he's confirmed back 60 times and Ralph has only been in 50 episodes. So it's like because the fandom, yeah, has gone crazy about it.
yeah,
Or at least
it
a
just, oh
segment
my
of the
goodness.
fandom. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
but
mean,
for me it paid off. Like so.
sure. Yeah, I thought it was a great reintroduction. I thought he looks dapper as hell,
Yeah.
just
Mhm,
the suit he's wearing.
mhm.
Um, he's got a nice car. It's cut
The
nicely.
BMW, right? Yeah.
Yeah, goes from his feet to his face. So
Mhm.
yeah, I like that for sure. I put it right there with like Kim Do-eun, just kind of similar thing, right? Her stepping down from the
Mhm.
airplane kind of thing,
Mhm.
filmed kind of in a similar way there.
Yeah.
I do like how Chosen's like, does not look so bad to me.
That's a
Of
me.
course not, right? Of course not. You,
That
I mean, you just beat
chosen.
up six senseis recently,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
who does look bad to you is what I want to know.
No one.
Yeah,
No
of
one.
course not.
I
Yeah,
like how Daniel does the stakeout and the license plate is a LaRusso auto thing.
right.
Like
Yeah,
he's he might as well have a big billboard, on his roof, like
right.
LaRusso.
I mean, windows not even tinted.
Yeah.
His lights are probably on. Just drawing all the attention.
Yeah.
I want to see something like Chosen walking by a mirror and accidentally scares himself. Oh, it's just it's just
I
me.
thought that guy was gonna kick my ass.
Yeah, that's the only guy that looks bad
Yeah.
to him is himself.
Mhm.
So the two here, they follow Mike Barnes to his place of work and see him pulling out all types of tools out of his trunk.
Like the first time I saw this, I just didn't know what to make of it. And like Chosen's the first one, he's like good for cutting pipe or something,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
like good for cutting legs. Like so I
Bones,
like
you're
the
cutting
misdirect.
bones.
Like I was just confused. I didn't know what was going on. Um it's of course convenient plot wise that like they're in the back and like didn't see any signs for what this place is.
Oh yeah,
But
there's got to be. I'm sure there's a back entrance. You could explain that one away. For
mhm,
me, it was just on my initial watch, I was just like, they're really trying to like misdirect you here. You know, like
mhm,
we'll get to that sequence, but I was just like, this is if he was a bad guy, this is like too on the nose. Like in I think it's also interesting that the introduction or the rather the reintroduction of Mike Barnes is
mhm.
not even his own POV. It's from the POV of these other two. Like
On this
when
data, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
when we first see Terry Silver, like Kreese is kind of creeping up onto his own Silver's property, but there's really no POV there. It just kind of plays it straight. But this one's like two guys, just kind of like staking out the house or whatever.
Mhm.
No dialogue for a little bit. They're just following the guy. So I kind of immediately knew at that point, I was like, there's no way this guy's bad. Or at least what
Yeah.
they're about to tell us is going to be a misdirect.
Yeah. Like I guess I had predicted, and I'll talk about this, that I didn't think Barnes was gonna be bad. In
Mm.
fact, like I had even made a video Barnes joins Johnny or whatever. So like I thought he was gonna be on their side. So yeah, I guess like I was just enjoying it and not really worried about like if like the misdirect was on the nose or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying it. Like
I feel the majority of the fandom, at least like on Twitter and stuff, because both you and I were very much present on there.
mhm,
I feel like a lot of people were just like, yeah, he's probably gonna be good, And
mhm,
and the other thing is like I guess like we all know, but nobody was really saying it. Like he was a teenager, Like why
mhm,
would he continue to be bad at that point?
mhm.
It didn't really make sense. He just needed some growing up to do. That made more sense. If he was a grown ass man like Terry Silver was, that makes more sense for him to continue being bad.
Right.
So anyway, let's see. We cut to Carmen and Johnny. They're at the pharmacy, maybe a drugstore. And the lady working up front immediately asked morning pill or pregnancy test.
Which cuts to the point. I know that the condoms are like the funny thing that everyone likes when he's like, I want to return these. Like, I just like the idea of like returning used condoms. I don't know.
Well,
Or
yeah.
just
So
or
I did not.
open the box anyway.
I didn't get a chance to look it up. Okay, I wanted to because they're made. They're it's called Tiger Glove, made by Achilles. I'm not familiar with either of those brands. I mean, I
I
do have
searched
five
Tiger
kids.
Glove condoms and they didn't show up. Yeah.
I didn't think
Um
so. Just the
yeah.
package looks weird. It looks
It's like
like some sort of
Animal
cigar
Kingdom or
box.
something. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's uh, yeah, best condoms in the Wild Kingdom.
Well,
So,
and not only that, first off, it's a tiger, right? So
right.
it's some sort of feline, and it already makes me think of like the mascot, like from West Valley. The colors are blue and orange, which isn't that also the color? So I was
You
just
think
like,
they market this to the high school kids?
like, did Johnny get this from the bathroom, like the boys' room?
That would be
Yeah,
funny.
I know. It's just it's just the colors and the tiger just made me think of the school, the Wildcats or whatever it is.
Aren't they the
But
lions? They're the lions.
the
So
Lions,
tigers and lights. Yeah, I think
mm,
so.
some sort of
Um,
feline. But
yeah.
I like how Johnny's like, it doesn't even matter whether or not they were purchased at a real pharmacy. Just the fact that they were defective, he wants his refund. He leaves it there too. So like the idea
Mhm,
is like he's expecting the refund when he comes back up with the pregnancy test. Like maybe
mhm,
there's an exchange. Like, can we exchange this? Like, well,
mhm.
first off, you probably didn't even get it there, which is what it sounds like, according to this lady.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're the mountain lions. I looked it up. So
Mountain lions.
they're
Okay.
the mountain lions. Yeah.
So pretty close, yeah. Let's see. Carmen, she admits. Oh, no, 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 no. Johnny, he admits that he doesn't want to feel useless, and he's kind of scared after what happened with like Shannon and Robbie. Um, and I guess there's like this dad with the baby uh that kind of freaks him out a little bit, and this makes
Mhm.
Carmen nervous.
Right. Um, I guess like, we're just adding a little suspense here for the whole thing. So, um, and it is like Johnny, I think like it's good that he, openly acknowledges, oh man, I messed up last time, but I want to make sure. So like, we're seeing this car ride was relaxing for Johnny. At least he got his head on a little bit more straight, at least a little bit. So, but he's
I
not
would
all the way
say.
there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned that it was a quiet ride, right? So, there's
Mhm.
probably not a lot of conversing, and so like, yeah, he's, kind of doing some I don't know, self-searching himself, I guess, on the ride back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, Moon, and Yasmin, they are at a spa. Moon has been there before, apparently after a breakup with Eli, and she's brought Sam there to try a self-actualization pod. Is this any different from like a float tank?
Um, well, I agree with Sam. They're like sensory deprivation tanks, which is also what Amy said in her synopsis. So I feel like I guess Amy agrees too. I've never heard of float tank, and for whatever it's worth, I've never been in these things. So I only know they exist from TV.
Right.
So but I don't know anything
Okay.
about it.
So a float tank experienced sensory deprivation in an isolation tank. Okay, so I guess it's the same thing.
It's all the
Okay,
same thing. Yeah. Okay.
according to just this little goggling that I'm doing here, so
Hmm.
I've been in one. I've actually been in. I've gone twice. The same place. The tank that I was in, they put in a lot of Epsom salt, and so you're floating. That's why I guess it's called a float tank. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
That makes sense. That would help for the sensory deprivation because you're not even laying on ground or whatever, or something.
right. So you're
Mhm.
literally floating. And I've only been to the one, so I don't know how different the other places are, but obviously this is, a show, and so they couldn't have Sam undress, but when I went, I had to be fully nude. So
Oh,
yeah, so I'm floating and I have like a little bit of like claustrophobia, like I could get into the tank, but almost the entire time I'm also a little anxious, you know, and so like I think it's 1 hour, and I think that just like if oh my God, it felt like days, you know, and
Days, yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, I feel like I could just never like relax, and so kudos to her for able, you know, for her to be able to kind of get into that state, but yeah, for me it was really difficult.
And you did
So
it twice, but yeah.
I did it twice, you know, because I went a second time just to see like, well, maybe if I go even more relaxed, and yeah, it was the same, you know, and again, when you're floating like half of you in water, and you know, for you know the other half is like outside of the water. You know, it
Interesting,
just
yeah.
feels weird. Yeah, it just feels a little weird. Then you get
Yeah.
out, rinse off all the salt, and you know, you come out, and depending on the place, you know, like they had tea for me if I wanted it, and sit there and just kind of relax before I left. So yeah,
Mm.
it's interesting. I would have wished that I like had some sort of sensory deprivation thing, you know, but yeah, didn't even come close.
Dude,
But
well, maybe you did. Maybe you're anxious, your anxiety, whatever was your vision or something. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Was it completely black too? Like, did they have it?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. The it's an actual tank. Like, you know, you open up the door, you go inside, you close it, and it's the water. It's bigger than a bathtub, obviously. I
mhm,
feel there was like one point like I did kind of float and touch like the side, and so I just kind of pushed myself, try to get
mhm.
back into the center, so that way I just completely, you know, quote unquote, floating. So
These things in
yeah.
the show don't like actually look that big.
They
I don't
don't.
know.
I don't know if that's a real one. That actually that'd be an interesting question to ask. But yeah, because it doesn't. It doesn't look like, you know, you can lay in there completely.
Like, yeah, maybe you gotta like fold your legs or something,
Yeah.
like
I
cross your
think,
legs.
well, that's the thing though. I think the idea is like you're literally supposed to stretch out,
It's
you
just,
know?
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
I guess, but
Yeah, try it if you guys want to, you know, give it a shot. But yeah, I was wondering, I was like, is this the same thing that I did? And yeah, I guess it is. But you know, she's, you know, she was game. You know, she tried it out.
she did. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yeah, she was scared, but goes in like it's like a little bit of drama. I guess it's just the suspense. Like, she, Moon talked her into it. I guess.
Hmm. I should have combined, you know, because there's a couple back and forths here. I probably could
Yeah.
have just combined the two here. But meanwhile, Dimitri takes Miguel and Eli to a jewelry store and insists that Miguel pick something up for Sam. And apparently, this is something he does for every time him and Yasmin fight. And she's got a bunch of charms, I guess, on a bracelet.
Which, by the way, I think you do see it in the next episode. She has it on her leg or
Oh,
her ankle.
oh, that's right, at
In
the
that
pool.
shot at the pool, yeah. Um, but there's not a lot of charms on it. But girls may not always put every charm on at once, I guess. But
Or
that's
he's
we'll talk about that next episode. But
sure, he could be embellishing too.
or yeah, yeah, he could be embellishing.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we get all types of
um,
fights.
Something I said in my reaction, like I think I so think they missed a joke, when he's like, Dimitri gives the story to the lady, uh um the salesperson, and she, about the karate fight, and she says like, oh, okay, or something like that, like she's like, oh, birthday, and then Dimitri gives the story. I just feel like, since this world everything revolves around like karate in the valley or something, like, I just thought it would have been so much better if she's like, oh, left during the karate fight, oh, that happens all the time, let me show you, like karate breakups and stuff happen all the time in the valley. Like,
That would be
I don't
funny.
know, to
It'd be
me,
like
like, that would have been funny.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
like if it was just like the most common thing,
well,
like
these
couples
sets,
always fighting over karate and such. Yeah.
right? She's like, you know, this first set of bracelets over here. This is for the football breakups, but let me show you the karate ones over here, you know, or something
And
like
she
that.
like opens
Yeah,
up a room, and it's just the whole thing. Like, it's just all for karate,
yeah.
because karate in the valley is the biggest thing. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
This is shaped like a lotus headband right here. Yeah.
Right. She's got all the dojos, like charms for all the dojos and stuff. Like,
This one's a rattlesnake. Um, let's see. I do like Eli's one line here. This is like I feel more of a Johnny line. So maybe like Eli's been hanging around with Johnny a little bit more often. He's like,
Mhm.
you got one with like fewer tentacles.
Yeah, like I think Eli can make those lines sometimes.
Okay.
Um like what oh by the way, the thing that really got me about this whole scene is like 2 episodes ago, Miguel lost all his money. It was stolen and we thought like he had no more money, but now he has money for jewelry. Like where did he get $182 for this? Like
Interesting.
because he was robbed 2 episodes ago. It's like he suddenly came into some money, apparently. I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe Dimitri, kind of like paid for him maybe, and he's gonna have to pay
Maybe.
him back kind of
I
thing,
don't know. I think right now John Hurwitz is stop asking questions. Watch
Yeah.
party.
Well,
Just
I think
go
more
with it.
so
Just go with
Hayden.
it.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
hated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think
Um,
John said the 182 is an Easter egg. To some guy
182.
from Blink 182. Like there's like a guitar player or something. I don't really know who it was, but like he
Oh,
was
okay.
tweeting something that like it there's a guy from that band who has like his he sells like his symbol or whatever, and I guess it's an octopus or something
Oh,
like that, and
interesting.
and so like the by making it $182, which actually doesn't make sense. If it were gold, it'd probably be way more than that, but like it was like a small like nod to him. Hurwitz was tweeting something about that a few days ago.
I think I
um,
did see a retweet of somebody was like, "Hey, my octopus or something like made it on the show or something like that." Is
mhm.
that okay? Okay, I do
something
remember seeing
something
that.
like that. Yeah, it was like a nod to him, you
Yeah.
know.
The band Blink 182. Do you know what the 182 signifies?
um Prob no, I don't.
It's how many times the F word is used in Scarface.
Wow, that's
I
trivia.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. I do know somebody that was in one of their music videos too. I forget which song, but
How long is that movie?
ooh, over 2 hours long.
Yeah, because
Um,
you're talking over an F bomb a minute there.
yeah,
Um,
let's do some quick goggling here. 182 Scarface. Let's see what that shows up. Scarface, the F word, 182, and it says plus 44. What does that mean? I heard a long time ago, blah, 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 blah. Explanations of 182 include the number of times Al Pacino's character, Tony Montana, says fuck in Scarface. That's how it's saying that. So
is that
it's Al
accurate
Pacino,
though?
yeah.
Or is that just what someone says?
It's all over. I mean, I remember hearing that in some sort of trivia as well.
I guess I
It
don't
might
know.
have even been like on MTV, like during one of their music videos, maybe like one of those little pop-up trivia, like, hey, 182, this is what that means. So that's what I always knew it as.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I just looked up. Yeah, according to the band, it's how many times he said fuck. But
Yeah.
now I'm gonna have to rewatch Starface and
Yeah,
because that would be a lot. It's theoretically possible, of course.
for
Um,
sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
but
like
that's a lot.
that he's got a dirty mouth, that Tony Montana, and so
Mhm.
yeah, I can see that. But really just him by himself, like I feel maybe the entire movie, but yeah, if yeah, so I guess that's if you want to do the homework, let us know. I like me some Michelle Pfeiffer, so maybe I'll check it out too. Let's see
Oh,
here.
what's it?
Yeah,
Mark Hoppus? Is he's
didn't
a
tell you.
member?
I just know Travis
Octopus
Barker.
Drive. Okay, he had an Octopus Drive, so maybe yeah, that's his symbol.
Yeah,
So I guess that's his name.
Travis Barker, the drummer, also played "You're the Best" live with Stephen Aoki at the MTV Movie Awards, was it?
Mhm.
Where Billy received the gosh, well, I forgot what the award was, but I forget. It was just a few years ago. But yeah, they had like the DJ and Travis Barker play a live version of "You're the Best." It was actually pretty cool. I wish there was a studio version of it.
Mm.
But another tie to Blink 182 there.
There you go.
Um, Daniel has followed Mike into the building and overhears a phone conversation where he thinks he's speaking with Terry Silver.
Well, this whole conversation is just a giant Easter egg callback. Like I loved it. Like I don't know, like I just enjoy it, even like rewatching it, the fifth, 10th time, whatever. Like I
Yeah.
for some reason I really like this. I think Sean Kanan just nails every part of it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. You mentioned Easter egg. The young lady he's speaking to, Michelle. I think she's a teacher, just from kind of listening to the conversation. But that's also the name of Sean Kanan's wife.
Oh, okay. I wonder
Yep.
if that was her on the phone too.
That I'm
Um,
not sure of. That'd be a good question.
yeah.
I feel like Sean would have said that, because I did mention like, oh hey, I like that Easter egg. You're talking to Michelle. That's the name of your wife, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they met
Um.
like through his soap opera work, I think, if I
Yes.
recall. I had read it once or something, but
Now, in this phone conversation, I thought it was interesting that Barnes says that he wants 50% upfront to do his very best. So if
Mhm.
he doesn't get that 50% upfront, what's he gonna do? Like just mediocre work? I just thought it was interesting. But again, it's to let us think that he's talking to Silver.
It's like anyone negotiating a contract. If an actor says, I need 20% of the film, like,
Okay,
what, you're
all
not going to
right.
do a good job if you only get 10%? Like, you know.
Hmm. I guess you're right. I did recently commission somebody to design a couple t-shirt designs,
Mhm.
and they said this is how they work, and they asked for something percent upfront. I go, you know what? I like your work. I trust you. I'll just pay you everything up front. And so I've been getting like some work in progresses here and there, and just yeah, it's coming along nicely. So can't
Good.
wait to
Good to
show it,
hear.
and it'll be interesting to see if anybody wants to buy it again. But because one design is definitely for me, I feel like I mentioned that the last time, maybe. But anyway, something to keep an eye out on if you guys want some new CKK designs.
Ooh.
Let's see here. Any
Ponytailed pimp is a good line too.
that
That that Daniel says. Yeah.
yeah. That is a good one. And that is also kind of a trope in itself here, where like somebody, again, a whole misunderstanding. Daniel grabs the phone and thinks it's Silver. You know, like,
Mhm.
like I've seen that before, right? Um, let's see. Johnny's at his apartment and he's goggling how to get ready for a baby, and we got another Johnny montage here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a classic sitcom montage. Like I said, this episode is the most sitcom episode Cobra Kai has ever been. Like, it's
Yeah.
always been a half-hour show. It competes at the Emmys in the sitcom category, and they're always like, well, we have trouble because we're not really a sitcom. Like this is the episode, at least I would say two out of the three storylines are basically sitcom plot lines. Um,
Hmm.
but it's not bad. This one I think is better than the boys and girls one, because this one, it is a little more like Johnny humor. So it's
Right.
like
Right.
specific to this show. So it is like you like Johnny, you like Johnny humor. So it's just like a sitcom plot
Oh
with
yeah.
Johnny humor, but it is good.
This is like season two vibes, where he discovers the internet, right? Where he's looking left and right when he's checking out like, wet t-shirt pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
Now he
We have
does.
like a whole like sub story of like Johnny on computers or something, where he's going bit by bit and learning more and more. Now he learned like the internet can be used to research things and
Oh yeah,
such.
he's definitely learning, and we'll find out a little bit later on in this very same episode, that he's been learning.
Mhm.
Some of the search results here, as he is typing in how to, one of the search histories here, how to tell my student that I'm banging his mom. So a call back there, and
Yeah, it remembers his history, right? He searched that
yeah,
last season.
yeah.
So
And I like that's just how few he's actually looked up. Like that's just still one of the
it's the
only
top,
things
yeah.
that's yeah. How to get rid of graffiti pops up, hiccups, and also car smells. So I think this is all stuff for his Ubering, right? Like he wants to make sure that the car, he gets the graffiti off. Hiccups, I'm not sure, but the
Well, the
car
Ubering's
smells,
not coming up yet, but
yeah.
um
Well, yeah, I guess he has no reason to look that up yet, does he?
yeah,
Because he hasn't made that decision yet. Because Shannon needs to show up, right?
right. That's
Um,
next episode.
yeah. See,
Um
that's the thing when I'm like jumping around just watching like
But
episodes for
see,
funsies.
like in like Watch Party's redo where we had 3 episodes in Mexico, this scene wouldn't exist. Like it would
Mhm.
just all of this stuff would merge together in the next episode.
I
But that's
see.
okay.
Why don't I
That's the show
mean
we have.
you have the skills. Why don't we have a watch party phantom edit?
Yo.
I would say your episode 4. That'd be interesting. How to find hot babes. That's the search results. That
He
was one that
doesn't
popped
need
up.
to search that. Like, come
Yeah,
on. Like
well, yeah, no. When I saw that, I was like, wait, well, what? He's
he's
been dating
looking
Carmen
to
though.
criticize what they say. Like, these guys don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, sure. In one of the sequences here, he's swallowing a case of beer. That was pretty funny because that's
Oh
his
yeah.
baby, right?
Yeah.
He's cleaning out the
Yeah, it's fitting. Yeah.
fridge.
Mhm.
He takes down the painting of the women at the pool and
Mhm.
also a bunch of cockroaches. Yeah, that's kind of like your runny ham, right? With the ham juice. It's just kind of
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, well, yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, that was kind of gross. Yeah, the cockroaches were freaky. Like
It kind of
he's been sitting
reminded
on
me of,
this couch for 4 seasons.
right. It reminded me of Joe's apartment. You ever see that one? With
No.
the Jerry O'Connell. Yeah, the same kind of thing. He's got an apartment full of, is it cockroaches? It's been so long
Mhm.
since I've seen it, but gross. Another
Yeah.
gross movie.
I like when he's
Um,
fumigating though, and then like takes a swig of the
it was-
beer. It's like,
I'm just glad
yeah,
the pesticide didn't rise
right.
too high up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one there?
Um, I think we covered all the bits of the montage, so it's
Okay.
yeah.
So we go back to the Agora furniture store. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly. Daniel and Mike, they're both apologizing to each other. And this seemed like a sequence that Sean very much appreciated. The whole apologizing part, to kind of show where Mike is now.
Yeah, tying up, or fixing, or not fixing, but like just sort of like tying up from Karate Kid 3, closing that gap.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think it's good. I think like I said, this is sort of the way I thought it was going to be. Um, the only thing I got wrong is I thought he would still be in karate. In fact, like what got me is he's like I was banned from karate, and all I could think is like, how did he got banned from karate because of the tournament, but like he didn't even get like disqualified from the tournament while it was happening. And like if you want to make a conspiracy theory, you could say Pat Johnson was actually paid off, which is why
Jerry Silver. Yeah.
yeah, which is why like which is why he didn't get disqualified even though he should have been, but and then later was banned. And I could even extend that theory that he was paid off in Karate Kid 1, but differently, because he was paid off because Cobra Kai won like 4 of the last 5 years. So he's paid off so that Cobra Kai wouldn't win. So that's how it was paid off. And then I said Daniel. And it wasn't like Miyagi. It was just some random person didn't want Cobra Kai to win. So there's your conspiracy theory.
Oh gosh. Yeah. The whole Terry Silver bribing Pat Johnson. That's actually very interesting because like how you say in this world there's like no law enforcement.
Right.
I guess just about every ref is crooked.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
there's no good ref here in the 30 plus years of the All Valley that we've seen on
Mhm.
film. But yeah, we learned from Mike that apparently has been eating at him, that
Mhm.
he thought that like reaching back out to apologize or whatnot would trigger something, and that he just thought it was best to kind of leave it in the past. This is also where we find out, some more backstory of, how his late father-in-law told him how, use your hands to build furniture instead of
Mhm.
karate and all that.
Mhm.
Now, Mike Barnes mentions like, oh, hey, I know you've been doing well for yourself. I've seen your commercials. So does Agora not have commercials? Like, or does Daniel not watch TV and maybe has never seen Mike Barnes like Furniture King?
Um, Maybe not if it's like a local store that's
Okay.
mostly expanded on word of mouth or other forms of advertising. Like TV is expensive. So it's not um unheard of to me that they didn't like. I think there's a lot of furniture stores that don't advertise on TV. So
Okay.
yeah.
So we're back at the spa and we see Sam inside the pod, and this is where we see her, quote unquote, self-actualizing. Your thoughts?
Uh, I was kind of confused. I mean, you can tell me what you think of it as like basically her dream sequence and
Okay.
everything that's going on. Like every time I come up with like an idea of what this is, like there's like a counter example that makes me question. So I think like I was thinking
Okay.
like, is it things she's running from? Like so like Daniel says LaRusso 2.0. While in season 4, she didn't want to be LaRusso 2.0. She was finding her own way. So like is that something she was running from, LaRusso 2.0? And then Sam and Yasmin say you're one of the girls.
Right.
So is that she decided she didn't want to be, so was she running away from that, even though at the time she wasn't, but then later like is she running away from those memories of that? Is that something like
Right.
she's running
Because of
from?
the because they're wearing the Laker girls outfit from the first season too.
Right.
And I remember when we first saw that image, you mentioned in I don't know if it was a live stream or one of your videos that you thought that these were like insecurities of hers. I kind of forget the
Yeah,
words
that
that you
was
used.
that was yeah, that was like another thing, like insecurities. Which I think that it could be that too, which is why she's running from it. Um,
I love what you had to say about that very specific moment of the last time we saw them in the Laker girls uniform, because Sam had her chance to step in and back up Aisha, which she did not. And
right,
so
yeah.
yeah, so I
And
don't
so
know.
it was a bad moment for Aisha. So is this like a regret for her? Like, see, it's not all regrets because like LaRusso 2.0 isn't a regret, but it could be, you could say something she was running from or something. So like that's why like I can't find like a common theme among all of them, like other
Yeah.
than that there's just moments that happened.
I,
Um,
I I guess my thought was that these were what she thought other people were perceiving as her. And you probably have some counters for this, but like Daniel, you mentioned 2.0, right? Like she
mhm.
thinks that Daniel only sees her as kind of like his legacy.
Mhm.
Yas and Moon, you're one of the girls, like that's all they see her as. But she's more than that. Like she's also like, into karate and all that. I'm not sure that maybe not be sexy, but
But see,
Robbie,
Yasmin and Moon see her as like a karate, their
yeah,
karate friend. Like,
mm,
right? Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Continue with your idea
yeah,
though.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So Robbie says, you're the girl that broke my heart, right? So like Robbie only sees her as like the ex-girlfriend kind of thing, you know?
Right. And see,
Um,
and in my thing, I said that's another thing she's running from because it is literally something she has never addressed, it that she cheated on him. I said I think it might have been better if he had said instead, You're the girl, you're the one who cheated on me."
yeah,
But like
yeah,
that is
right.
like something that in the way I'm trying to put it together is like that was something she was running from as well. So
Well,
okay,
let's
so
see.
continue with yours. Yeah. Or
The prom fight. What was it that she said to him? Like,
you
you
broke my
weren't.
heart too.
Yeah,
I broke
yeah.
your heart, you broke my heart too. Is
So,
she
so,
in
so maybe,
denial? Like I don't know. Like that was such a wild line that
yeah. Okay. So it then Miguel. Oh God, what did he say? Oh well, Eli
you
has the
got Hawk,
trophy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You're the
You're
girl
the
that
girl that
lost.
lost.
Yeah.
Um that's the one
So
like I wasn't sure she was running from.
maybe
Like
she,
she knows she lost. Is it haunting her? Is it this is like it's an insecurity, so maybe it's her
right, because
insecurity.
because
Um
I don't think that she would think that Eli perceives her as like like failed as an equal,
Right,
to
yeah,
them or something.
that's
Yeah,
the
so
thing.
that's
Like
yeah,
Eli has never said or done anything of the sort. He's as far as we know, he's been nothing but positive. Like,
right. And
so
then
yeah,
what does
that's the thing. So,
Miguel say to her?
um, you're my girlfriend, and that's the one I have trouble too. Is like, um, she running from being his girlfriend? Like, not at this point. Like, so.
Right. Well, the fact that he is not giving her the space that she hasn't yet decided on that she wants.
Oh, we'll get to that point later
Yeah,
when
okay.
she literally
Okay.
mentions it.
And then she hears Tori's voice, but it's her. And so is this like her, not un maybe not understanding? I guess let's just say she's not understanding. So maybe it's like she doesn't understand that they are actually different but same. Like if she got to know Tori more, that she would realize that they're actually the same.
Do you think
But
the Darks or the Blackie Sam is like a stand-in for Tori? Like that's another thing. Like we hear Tori's voice, but she sees herself. Um, I don't see anything in her subconscious though. Like if this
yeah,
were in her subconscious, like that would make that connection. Like, oh, I'm just
right.
like Tori, but we're different but same. Like I don't even see that in her subconscious. Like,
Right. I mean,
um,
because also like just their background. I mean, that's like the hugest of differences, right? It's just like they come from,
right, yeah,
different upbringing and
yeah.
broken home,
Like,
is
yeah,
where
like
Tori
I
comes
don't
from.
see anything like even that her subconscious will think, oh, we're just alike. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
click to me. Like
It is
that's like I
confusing.
even wrote in my note. I'm a little confused, and like I said at the beginning, sometimes I actually think maybe the writers were a little confused. Like they had this idea of this really interesting scene, and like wrote these things in. It's like, well, what's tying it together? I mean, I'm giving you my best guesses. I don't know.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. And then Dark Sam, like she seems to be winning before Moon interrupts too. So like what is that about?
yeah,
So
and
a lot of questions for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Um, okay. Any other notes? That was yeah.
Um,
That was
I
we're
just
we're
I
giving
a
each other our
mirror
best
matches
guesses.
like Mortal Kombat. So I do like a mirror match. So I thought this was like for what it's worth, the fight itself was fun to watch. Mary
And
versus her
usually,
stunt double. Like so.
right.
Uh,
God, what was her name? It starts with a S. S-
oh, her
I
stunt double's name.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I don't. I
yeah.
forgot. I don't
I
know.
knew it at some point, but because I believe she also kind of doubles for Alicia, as well.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, I just kind of piggyback on your Mortal Kombat comment. The mirror matches, usually your mirror is stronger, so it does take a lot of skill to beat your to
Mhm.
defeat your mirror self in
Yeah.
that game.
And I think
Um,
Mary said in an interview it was her idea to have the Sai.
yeah,
I guess it was going to be like nunchuck versus bow staff, but Mary's
yeah,
like,
I
"Oh,
think that
can
was
I do the
mine.
size still?"
I think that was
Oh, is it
mine.
yours?
I think so at Paleyfest, I believe that does sound right.
But that was
I,
before it came out.
mm,
Um, because
well,
she might
you
have
know
talked
what?
about the size in season four, but
For demonstration, yeah.
uh,
That was for the demonstration.
yeah.
That's what we're
Um,
talking about.
okay, yeah. But the fight, yeah, I watched an interview somewhere where she said she asked them if she could like the Dark Sam or whatever could do the size or something. So
Oh, okay. Let's see. We checked back in with Chozen briefly, who appears to be a little anxious inside the car, and it sounds like Daniel had just filled Mike in about Terry's return.
yeah, yeah. And so the the Barnes is nervous, right? And this is where he talks about the lawyer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
mhm.
Let's see. Barnes is not liking what he's hearing about Daniel, or hearing from Daniel about Silver, and I really like this because it puts a smile on my face. Where they're kind of play fighting. Where he's like, well, if you ever want a rematch, he's like, yeah, well, what about this? What about this? Oh, it's still left. Like, I love that because they just
Mhm.
look like they're having so much fun. But my next note was like, how fast was Chosen? Because like if you think about the Karate Kid Part Two, like I feel some of us have brought up like, wow, Daniel and Kumiko just saw Chosen, fighting American soldiers. And then at the bar, he's already like taking a shower, like fixed his hair. Like he's fast. And
Yeah.
so apparently, but by the like, we saw Chosen in the car. So did it cut and then like Chosen started leaving at that point, or did he see them like start play fighting, runs in, beats up four guys, and then he's there? Like he's pretty fast.
Yeah, I didn't think about did he beat the guys up when he saw them play fighting, or did he already beat
No,
them
no.
up?
I think
And
he
then,
was already like, yeah, when he was like checking his watch and stuff. I think that's when he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go see what's going on. So I think he was already beating up those guys, and then by the time he saw them play fighting, like that's when he ran, right?
yeah, Daniel didn't
Um,
come back. He had assumed Daniel had been captured and was being held captive by Barnes, and Barnes was cutting off his legs. So
yeah.
so okay.
But
It's a
I
natural assumption, really.
oh
So
sure, yeah, absolutely. You saw you mean they set that up, right? You saw all those tools, and so like
yeah.
Chosen's probably only thinking the worst.
Mhm.
Um, I did think it was funny. Like I legit had a laugh out loud moment when Chosen stomps on Barnes's foot. He's like really going aggressive at him. But my question is like, where's Phil? Where's that guy who earlier when Daniel came and took the phone, he's like, "Oh, is everything okay?" He's like, It's all right, Phil." Like, where is he? Is he calling the cops or?
It's with a customer.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, whole misunderstanding. Chosen says, you better call the ambulance. And so yeah, he took down four guys. So like how did that go down? Like did he walk up, in those guys, like they put down whatever they're carrying, just like any bad guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? When they see a turtle, they just put everything down and start getting ready for a
Fine.
fight. Like yeah, I want to see that one too. Like how did that
Mhm.
go down? Or did the Chosen just like jump in and just take them all down? Just thinking that they're bad, period.
Yeah.
Because Daniel said like, oh, he's hired some goons to work for him or whatever.
Yeah.
So oh man. We're back at Johnny's. We see him putting together maybe a cabinet. I'm not exactly sure. And Miguel
Something
arrives.
like IKEA. Like I thought like it was IKEA. Like,
Oh
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, I mean maybe from Agora, we don't know. Is that maybe they have
No, I
some,
think Barnes sells higher quality stuff.
oh sure.
So
Yeah, no, I'm totally joking. But yeah, Miguel, he arrives and asks for some advice from Johnny about Sam.
yeah, I think Johnny gives good advice. It's a nice scene. I don't know if it helps him. Um,
Right.
but
I do like what does he say? He's like, "Oh yeah, Hawk's a stud, but I wouldn't trust that dork Dimitri." So at least he knows Dimitri's name.
he does know Dimitri's name. Yeah.
Yeah. So Johnny says like, say he basically says to tell the truth and be honest. And I feel this is also something that Dimitri said in the first season, just be yourself. Wait, no, no,
Well,
what is it?
Dimitri also said slow your roll in the first season. So
Yeah, maybe it was season three. Yeah, it was season three. He said he was just being himself. That's how he got Jasmine. But I feel did Eli say that in season one? I gotta forget.
um
My
be
only
yourself. I don't think
yeah,
so.
my only one other note from the sequence is that Johnny mentions that he offers Miguel something to drink. It's like, oh, I got a fridge full of milk. Well, first off, the baby's not born yet.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, by the time the baby is born, that's all gonna be expired.
Milk is
So
bad. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, we
I think Johnny's doing it for himself. The milk, like he's like, I gotta eat healthy or something.
okay.
Um,
I like that. I like that better actually. He's cutting down, the when he was fumigating, with the pesticides or whatnot, that was his last course, right? You
yeah.
know,
No, it's not.
yeah, he swaddled the baby and then like broke all the stubbies or
Yeah.
whatever. We go back. Let's see. No, 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 no. Yeah. We're back at Mike's furniture store,
Furniture
and
store.
yeah, we're getting more details about Terry's deal with Mike here. My Some of my notes here. Actually, my only note is the shady attorney with the contract,
Okay, and this is where
and
the attorney is. Yeah. Okay. Mhm.
yeah, and I'd never heard this word before. Tufted blue suede, which I
I'm
feel
not
is
a
suede.
furniture guy. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
all right, that's fair. That's fair. But just like usually like suede furniture, like couches. Like my in-laws, they have a suede couch. I don't know, it's tufted, but that couch, though it feels nice sitting on it, this is not the not comfortable. Like so I couldn't imagine sleeping on it.
Hmm.
But Chosen seems like it.
Are you a karate assassin?
That I am not. That I am
Oh,
not.
see, that's
Maybe in my
there's the
dreams I
difference.
am. Uh, let's see.
So,
So this is kind of in the same sequence. Why would Daniel call this lawyer? Like he worked for Terry Silver. He like even if he no longer works, like let's say he
he
retired,
couldn't
right?
disclose like a contract for his
Yeah,
for more employee. Yeah, probably not.
yeah, but
But like maybe.
because plot, right? Because story. Like I mentioned this in
Hmm.
I don't know if it was the first or second episode, but it's convenient. If Daniel doesn't leave that voicemail, it's not sexy, right? It's not as
Hmm.
suspenseful as it is at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like my question was like, why would you call Daniel? Like that's just yeah, that's it's not very smart.
Maybe go to the
Ch
office and pay a visit. That would actually probably work better.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, he's Daniel does is impatient. He just wants
Right.
to
But
call.
yeah,
So
because like yeah, you don't want to just show up, right? Because like there's no ticking clock really, but just
mhm.
the fact that they did just see Terry Silver, they want to try to, they want to try to get two steps ahead, right? So
Mhm.
um
I was
the
just gonna say
cho
that I do like this scene, like the callback where he's talking about how like he made them put it in writing.
oh right, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I made him
Oh,
like that was just funny because I really enjoy all this Mike Barnes stuff. Um
yeah.
and I thought Daniel bought the couch too. Not necessarily I not chosen because like
Hmm. That's true because like the golf,
it's going to Daniel's
yeah.
house. Like
That's fair, Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't know how much money Chosen's got. I mean, I don't know. You feel that he's got to be pretty well off, right? Like he's probably got stuff that was given, he inherited from Sato,
yeah,
So
he's
yeah,
got his own dojos. I'm sure obviously
yeah,
he can afford to come here, but still, it's like Daniel's it's
yeah.
Daniel's room,
I
and they still didn't buy him a bed, so he just got him the
That's
couch.
true.
So
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess that must have come up right in the writers' room. Like, oh, well, he wants a bed. Well, why is he on a couch? Well, because it doesn't look as funny, right? Like
yeah,
if he
well,
was like
the
sit on the
scene
couch.
plays a lot better, yeah, when they're
Yeah.
sitting on the couch. Yeah,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah. And I like Chosen's line about like don't get blood on the couch. It's very expensive.
Mhm, yeah,
Very expensive. Yeah. So they probably just strapped that to the top of the car, probably. Like I feel that's
yeah.
how
I
they
don't
did it.
know how they got it home. I don't know.
Hopefully it's not too heavy because then you'd be scraping like, the bottom of the car there because
Hmm.
Daniel drives an Audi, he's not that tall or that high off the ground. So
Hmm.
we go back to Miyagi-Do where Miguel finds Sam in the backyard and they both apologize to each other. It gets emotional for the two because Sam wants a break. She doesn't know if kind of forget which is which. She doesn't know if she wants it, but she knows she needs it, or is it the other way around?
Um, um, let's
It
see what.
almost doesn't quite matter. Just the idea is that she wants to be on a break, like Ross and Rachel.
Okay, yeah, and she says like, I understand you needed to find time or take time for yourself, and now I need I really respect. Oh, I wrote it down. I really respect you taking time. You needed to find yourself, but now I need that time too. And I know so like that was like in what you were saying earlier in the tank, because like
Hmm.
my first reaction to this when she said that is like, well, didn't you just have a week? Like or like he left and he was there and then like he was gone, so you had all this time to yourself. Um, what was she
Yeah.
doing? Like,
Right. Hmm.
so,
Yeah. What was
so
she doing? That's a good point. I mean, because yeah.
practicing for
Well,
karate and then not wanting to do karate. Like she
yeah.
was
See,
literally went from practicing to not wanting to do it. Like, what was she? She was laying on the couch. Like, so it's like, I'm going to take some time for yourself or myself. It's like, are you going to spend that time laying on the couch eating Crustables? Maybe.
I want to try some of those
Um,
now. The more I hear about them,
uh,
Crustables.
I don't know. I'm not going to eat
Yeah.
them, but yeah, so like that was like my first initial reaction. She's like, well, she could have had it. Like you could say she was worried about Miguel, but like she seemed to kind of be over that, or it's unclear.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like and she didn't have to break up with him too. So I don't
Right.
know.
Just ask for a little personal time, right? Like that's really it. But yeah, again, that's gonna set something up later on, right? So
She says, okay, I'm looking at what I wrote. She says her whole life has been about karate. But then that's the thing. Why were Yasmin and Moon in the dream sequence? If everything about in that dream sequence is about karate, Yasmin and Moon were there. You were one of the girls. So like even your
right.
subconscious knows there's more to your life than karate, whether it's something you're insecure about from the past that you're running away from or whatever it is. But there is more. She just had a brunch day and spa day. My whole life is at karate. I just had brunch and spa. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
See, so yeah, anyway, like in the watch party rewrite where we have a third episode in Mexico, this
Right.
this this breakup gets moved to the water park. And the reason she breaks up with him is that the way it goes is um we can still have the brunch scene. So we still have Sam's story here going, but like instead of the brunch the way it went, Hawk is there showing off his tattoo, and Dimitri's there. So they're there, and the couples are there, and Sam's like the third wheel or the fifth wheel in this case. Like, and they're talking about all this stuff, non-karate stuff, right? And then she realizes her relationship with Miguel was all about karate because like they have other stuff other than karate in their
Hmm.
relationship. And then the breakup happens in next episode during the water park fight because she gets drawn into it and is maybe mad at Tori, mad at this, and realizes it's the karate's taking over her life. And then that's when she says, I need to step away. Um,
Right.
so you can have the same story, and I think and have it happen next episode during the fight because what's going to happen here is she breaks up and they're going to spend all next episode she's not taking time for herself. We'll talk about that in the next episode. I'll
Right.
bring it up.
Yeah.
but but
Yeah.
like what happens is she says I need time for myself and it literally lasts until the first scene of the next episode. Like,
Right. That's a good point. Yeah,
so
because this sequence,
yeah.
it kind of ends with her because he's like, well, it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. She's like, you promise, so
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like
yeah, yeah.
like I think that's why
Teenagers.
like I said I almost feel like there's confusion about this part of the story. Like we want her to break up, but then they're going to be back together like next episode the whole time where she's not taking time for herself. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that next episode, but
Absolutely. And we've mentioned this before too. I kind of forget which episode, but we hear about how they have all these cards, in the writer's room on the wall, and they continue to
yeah.
kind of move things around. So I bet you there was just some moving things around that are like, well, this just fits better over here. And then because of that, that's the product of what we
I
have for episode
I
3.
yeah, I strongly suspect they went into the writers' room with a hard decision. Mexico was going to be 2 episodes. It could be production reasons, the budget, whatever. I'm sure there were production reasons, but like it forced this episode where we have them reading text messages, just kind of like going back and forth, and then like breaking up, but not really because the next episode it's all back like going on. So like I feel like the whole thing would have flown better, had a better flow with
Yeah.
literally a third episode, right? And then just condense, have this breakup next episode. It also parallels Robbie and Tori, who also break up next episode.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just condense Johnny's Uber and the baby stuff, all just condense it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was the theory, and I'll talk about it more next episode. But
Okay.
and then that'll be it, guys. I'm not going to do this the whole season, but
Okay. Yeah. And then Miguel leaves Miyagi-Do and drops the necklace.
yeah, which is conveniently never seen again. It's by well, he should have returned it and got his money back since he was just robbed, and now he's like dropping the necklace. But
Yeah.
and he apparently drops it in a place that no one finds it. Even
Um,
during that egg exercise, it's especially because it's the egg exercise, which I guess we'll talk about more when we get to that episode. But
yeah. I did catch a little bit of your note how you mentioned your last comment was Miguel should have returned it. I agree. And I was thinking, well, let me see if I can find a reason maybe why he decides to leave it there. Money aside, maybe this is, like even though they just kind of promise, we can still be friends or whatnot. he bought that for her, right? Because they were still together. Now that they just broke up, this is like RIP necklace, right? This is good. I'm gonna leave it here because this is where we ended. There's no point in me taking it home. Again, not a satisfying explanation, but again, if you want to, if he doesn't want to think about the money, it's not worth it to him right now because he's heartbroken, open mouth crying Miguel, right? So yeah, very emotional. I
Well,
do like
here's the
how
thing. Does he ever intend in this moment, is he ever imagining he'll come back to Miyagi-Do? Um, like I
probably
know
not because
Daniel closed the
yeah, right.
dojo, but
He's
but like
closed
is he
and
thinking, oh, it's closed for good? Um,
yeah,
like I guess
kids are they're not gonna think that far ahead. And he's very emotional right now.
yeah.
Like he just saw a gun for the first time, probably. Right? Like
And then he
just
got a text message without an emoji. It's been a roller
exactly
coaster, I'm
with
telling you.
no emoji. Yeah, yeah.
That's a roller coaster his this kid's gone through.
I tell you. And that's just emoji. If they didn't react, Miguel might like reactions. We don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. If only you
Um,
were there to
you- I'm
how
like,
big
oh
of
my
a
God,
hug.
Miguel, you didn't get a
Yeah.
reaction. We we got to call for help. We're back at Johnny's apartment and he's hanging up some new art. Carmen comes over, and to her surprise, Johnny had baby proofs his humble abode and is speaking like a grown ass adult.
Stick your finger in the socket. That's
Except for
grown
that.
ass.
Yeah. I
Still a
almost wrote
little
down that
Johnny.
he challenges her to do so,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, I do like that. But yeah, no, he's just making some sense, and she can tell that he's been doing all of the goggling
Hmm.
about
Yeah.
baby can hear sound, and
Hmm.
and that's also something that I read when I was 17 when I had my first son or first child, and I used to sing to his mom's belly when he was still in there. So same kind of thing.
What Sabbath, Metallica, what'd you sing?
Oh yeah, the Everly Brothers. No, it was an R&B song. Yeah.
uh um
Yeah, the choice of so Black Sabbath, right?
mhm.
Metallica, you're familiar with Dokken?
No.
Dokken, I only know the one song from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It's called Dream Warriors, and that's a pretty good song. And that's all I know them from.
Interesting. Yeah.
I almost thought that it was like he had replaced his tape player with like an MP3 player because he's like, oh yeah, you can put Metallica, Doc, and whatever, but he still probably means a Johnny Badass mixtape 5 or so.
Mixtape, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah. But Carmen, she seems to like Metallica.
Yeah, she goes for Metallica. I wonder if he'll make a mixtape for his baby and a mixtape for Carmen.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
maybe.
there you go. Yeah, I can
Uh,
see that in the future.
sure. Johnny basically is willing to do some dad stuff as long as it's with her. I think I meant to say some lame dad stuff 'cause I think he kind of says something like that. And she tells him she went ahead and took the test, and they are expecting, and he thinks it's badass.
Yeah, yeah, that and that moment was in the trailer, and we there was all these discussions on what it would be, and
Yeah,
it was actually a fun payoff. I liked that.
I think
So
so.
I liked when I saw the moment because you recognize it from the trailer, and you're like, ah, and that works. Yeah, so it's a great moment.
Oh yeah, and so I don't know when spoilers came out, and I actually did a thing on Instagram where I said, they ask me anything,
Hmm. Hmm.
would you just fill in the answer. So I took that screenshot of him saying badass, and I said, what does Johnny think is badass? And somebody actually commented, they're having a baby. And
Mm,
at this point, I had not heard anything had leaked. And because of that, I immediately stopped doing that. I was like, well, this is no longer fun because somebody actually just guessed it. And so
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I,
So I
I
was having a
think
little
that
fun
was
with
one
it.
of the first things that leaked because I'll tell you, I started getting comments when I was like in a video like about Johnny and Carmen or whatever. Like I started getting all these comments because people think they're all clever. I think maybe Johnny and Carmen will have a baby. And then there's another comment. What if Johnny and Carmen have a baby? And it's like, I think maybe Carmen will get pregnant. Do you think Carmen will get pregnant? Like you get all these comments like right in a row, and you're like,
Jeez.
okay, this isn't like random. Like there's something out there. So yeah.
Right.
By the way, as far as spoilers go, this is one thing that was totally thoroughly spoiled for me. So like I knew where it was going.
Man. And I forgot what video it was, but Cody at Strike First Media,
Mhm.
he had uploaded something, and in the comments, somebody pretended to be Drew, Cobra Kai kid,
Uh,
comment and put that spoiler in there.
mm,
Yeah, and so like people were getting mad at Drew, thinking it was actually him. But if you
yeah,
go on to that account, they had like
it
only a
wasn't.
couple followers, so it was definitely
Yeah,
not him.
there's yeah,
Yeah,
people faking other accounts or something is
right. It
another
was
big
so weird,
problem
and
that's crept up in the past
yeah, well, one of
year or
the
so.
members of my admin team, he actually saw that comment and was very upset that he got spoiled. So, yeah, because we were kind of talking about it, and I went to go see just to see what it was. And I was like, all right, okay, that is a spoiler. Don't go looking for it. So, yeah, that's just very unfortunate. Some
Yeah.
people just want to ruin things for people.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. We go back to the Encino Oak Country Club. Daniel is in a steam room by his lonesome and wearing a robe. A little weird. He greets another member, only to hear the voicemail he left for Terry Silver's lawyer played back
Mm.
to him. And it's Terry wearing just a towel.
Very ominous. It's very ominous, very scary stuff. It's really good. Um,
Siri thought I was talking to her. I said Terry Silver, and she thought I said Siri. And started
oh,
looking up bath stuff. Yeah, I thought this was great. Just
Mhm.
the a cloud of smoke, and then slowly he walks in.
Mhm.
Yeah, a little weird how he found Daniel in there, but again, Daniel wearing a robe in a steam room. Okay, that's weird. You ever been in a steam room?
Yes, I have.
Did you wear a bathrobe?
Daniel wants the extra sweat. He's gotta
Oh, yeah,
he's
that's fair.
gotta
Okay,
keep
yeah.
those guns hidden, I guess.
He doesn't want to get called on the cops for carrying, right? So
Oh yeah, yeah, it's trouble. It's trouble.
yeah, let's see here. And then yeah, Terry says that he
I'll point out I didn't even realize he was wearing a robe until you brought it up.
oh,
I,
interesting.
I
Yeah,
didn't
because
even
I
notice.
just
Like I'm just watching the scene. I'm not even paying attention to like
yeah,
what he's
I'm like
wearing.
you're in the steam room. Like I mean, what you're saying that makes sense. Like if he wants to sweat even more, then yes, but also like it's already a steam room. Like it's
It's
already you guys are
already
already
a
sweating.
steam.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah,
But
I didn't even think of that until you mentioned.
yeah, so Terry says that they're going to be seeing a lot more of each other, and they after he goes pay his old friend a visit, then he's going to deal with him. So some he's got some words for him there, and then we see Mike Barnes pull up in his vehicle, only to find his store on fire. Um, I remember my immediate reaction. So I was watching this late at night. I had the screeners. Everybody was asleep, and so I didn't have the volume up too loud, so I didn't hear the crackling. So I actually didn't know. It happened too quick for me to kind of even guess what Mike was looking at. So when I saw it, it was actually very, very shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally shocked too, and it's funny because, the fandom made so many guesses. What's gonna burn? What's gonna burn? And that it was, the furniture store, um, which was, yeah, I was really surprised by it. I didn't expect it at all.
I've actually been trying to find the tweet, and maybe you remember this, but I feel it was before season four, and it was just one of those moments, one of those days where I was like, man, if we keep upping the stakes, we've seen Miyagi-Do got broken into in season three. We saw a fight at the LaRusso house. I go, what if in season four they set Miyagi-Do on fire or something like that?
Mhm.
And I remember John Hurwitz he commented, with that like dog gif, everything is fine,
Oh,
and I was like, oh no. And yeah, well, I don't remember what I actually typed out because I can't find it. I've typed in Miyagi-Do fire, Miyagi-Do burn, So I was like, man, what the hell did I write? But I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to find that because I want to see when it was that I kind of guessed that because it never happened. But we saw Mike's furniture store on fire. But so that's it. End snake. I actually don't know if I have said end snake in the last couple episodes, but there it is. Um, yeah, a solid episode. But
Yeah, I
at
love
this,
the Mike Barnes stuff. Dude,
yeah,
some of
really,
my
really good.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Just a
know,
great way. It obviously the biggest disappointment is he's only in two episodes, but yeah, for what we had here, was a lot of fun. The Barnes.
absolutely, absolutely. So let's see what the people in the group page thought about this episode.
All right.
Solicited for feedback and comments and questions. And let's see here. Starting at the very top, we got one from Dorian. He says the return of Mike Barnes was the most wholesome part of this episode. His interaction with Chozen and Daniel is priceless. Yes, after the fight, definitely. But wholesome, I would. That's how I
I would
would.
say actually Johnny, cleaning up for the baby, but if you're literally using the word wholesome, but definitely
Yeah,
it was a great moment for sure.
I would say the
Um,
play fighting between Daniel and Barnes was wholesome. That was,
mhm.
I would go as far as calling it cute. The play
You-
fighting.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that goes for it.
yeah.
What I liked, we didn't even mention when the picture came out. We spent forever trying to figure out uh where he was
Right,
and
right.
with every sort of thing. And I even remember looking back there to see there's a couch and then there's another couch. Where could that be? There's these different couches.
Well,
Like
not only
maybe
that,
it's
like
some sort of upscale lounge.
we saw bottles, like water bottles of sorts, like
Right, yeah.
that
Like
doesn't even come
is
into
that a
play.
bar in the background? Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
didn't come up, but
not even
yeah, why
close.
were all the couches? Yeah.
Not even close. Ron says, I love what they did with Mike Barnes. He's reformed to become a good guy, but still has the bad boy of karate lurking just beneath the surface. Also, in one scene, Chosen says they need to call an ambulance for all the guys whose asses he just kicked, and we even see them on the floor after the beating. Then in the very next scene, they're up again and putting the couch in Daniel's car. Do you think Chosen used Miyagi's healing touch technique on them?
I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're right. Like they were pretty hurt.
Maybe
I
it was
mean,
just the pressure points, which goes away after a couple minutes.
I feel one guy was bleeding from the nose.
Yeah, I do think it.
So
I think
yeah,
he's still bleeding when
yeah,
when the couch. That's why he doesn't want to get blood on it. But
it's a good point. To answer the question, yes.
yes,
Yeah,
obviously, yeah.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
a karate assassin dash Miyagi healer. So
yeah. There you go. Uh, Jennifer C. She says, I was surprised, but not really surprised at Carmen's pregnancy. Of course, watching Johnny's antics, the in parentheses, the YouTube video and stuff, with that was funny. And I felt so bad for Mike. A small part of wonders, is he still working with Silver? Maybe she meant like her initial viewing, she was still kind of wondering. Um,
yeah, I think
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
some people were.
I think a
Um,
lot, yeah. David M. I have not seen this name in a while. Maybe he left a feedback previously, but I know he's been in the group for a while. He says, I didn't know it was possible, but I actually felt bad for Barnes by the end of the episode. The guy was just living his life when Daniel showed up out of nowhere and sucked him into his beef with Terry Silver. Yeah, I agree. I felt bad
yeah,
as hell. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Um,
bad luck karate war goes with Daniel.
it is.
It's
Yeah.
this
LaRusso's just bad luck.
He's this sphere of karate war around him wherever he goes. So
Yeah. The This is from Kiara from Sicily. She says the interaction between Daniel, Mike, and Chosen was great. It was nice to see Mike, uh, quote unquote, the bad boy become a good person, and Johnny was very sweet to worry about preparing for the baby's arrival without even being sure that a baby would actually arrive. Too
it's
bad
true.
for Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Too bad for the moment. He moved the sofa cushion, and bam, my phobia. I had to stop because I felt like throwing up, and it spoiled the poetry. It spoiled the poetry of the scene a little. And again, she's from Sicily, but yeah, the cockroaches. She's scared of. I mean, cockroaches are pretty gross.
That's pretty. Yeah, they definitely went all in on the
Yeah,
cockroaches there. Um, Boy, did they
It-
put real cockroaches on the set? And how
it's
did they
for the
shoot that?
I don't know. It. I mean, it was very effective. However, they did it. That's definitely a question I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Dorian came back. Oh, one more. This episode gives us a foreshadowed delivery. In 209 Pulpo, Rosa says, "Don't get her pregnant," referring to Carmen. Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
And 503 playing with fire. Carmen is expecting Johnny's baby. There we go.
Hmm.
Interesting, interesting. This so Jay is back. He did tell us in the group that he's not from the future. I don't know if I told you that yet.
I think you posted it or you sent it
Okay,
to me. I saw it. Yeah.
okay. He says, I feel really bad for Miguel this episode. He's been through the ringer with Sam since they first became a couple in season one. I understand Sam needing a little space, though. I still feel bad for the kid, especially after what just happened in Mexico. Mike Barnes was a nice added touch. I love the "for you, 2 grand" comment. My friends and I had a little inside joke in our 20s where we would charge more because they were my best friend. That's pretty, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. That's funny.
For sure. Yeah.
Next one comes from Randy. He says, "Longtime listener, first time commenter. More a comment on the last episode. Why has no one noted that it seems like Terry Silver is living in a new house? I get that due to production reins, they probably needed to build a new set, but throughout the season, the set looks completely different from the set that was used in season four. It then begs the question, did Terry move immediately after the events of season four? If so, how did he get moved in so quickly, or is he that rich that he has more than one palatial home in the valley? Another related question: they went out of their way to recreate the original dojo from the film series in season four, but how come it wasn't featured in season five? Um, okay, so
Um,
anything stand out for you there
well,
immediately?
in regards to the house, I always took it as Silver owns multiple houses. That's
Mhm.
just like what I thought. They did shoot at a real house. I think someone said that. I think
Correct. Yep.
was it Sean Keenan who talked about it? Yeah. So that it's not a set, it's a real location. Um, so that they probably had to find a house also that had, the rooms they needed and whatever. But
Right.
so that's those points. And then in regards
E-
to the dojo, yeah, it's a good question. I think they just wanted a bigger, a really big state of the art set, like dojo. So it's like it's the flagship location, so to speak.
Oh, so let's see. So he's talking about like Johnny's Cobra Kai, right?
No, no, no. I think he's talking about when they in 408 when they went to the old dojo from
Oh,
the
right.
movie. Because and he even says like I leased it or whatever.
Hmm.
But then they didn't actually go back there this season. So I guess it was still
Right.
being remodeled or whatever.
It could be
But
that,
like, and
but
I think
I
also
mean,
practically they needed a bigger spot.
there's that, but didn't he get that for Kreese, right? So maybe he's not, he's not going to end up using that, or maybe it's there, but it's for Kreese, right? So Terry Silver's not going to use it, like that could
Um,
be the reason.
I guess
Um,
it's possible, like since especially since Kreese had more of a connection to it than Silver did, even though they talked about it as if it was theirs. I don't remember if he specifically said, "I got this for you," or "He got this for us," or
yeah.
they did
Eh,
say this place treated us well. Um,
right. And I wouldn't necessarily say that like let's see how he worded it. Um, let's see. The stuff that's completely different. Another question. Oh, they went out of their way to recreate. I wouldn't say they went out of their way. They probably just dressed, one of the other rooms. I mean, because nothing was really built, right? Like it's just, it's still
yeah, it
like
was like in construction,
renovation.
like so.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so it's not like they really went out of their way. They just used another room and kind of dressed it up as such. So
and
that's
yeah.
really it. But shout out to Emily, one of the other members. She actually replied to him, and she says that um, Terry has security cams very neatly labeled. So in the scenes where he is checking on his cams, we see that his new place is Valley House, VLY House, which is clearly not his beach pad or Ennis house from Karate Kid 3. And Site's Tumblr had some amusing thoughts on the new chateau. So So yeah, he has cameras in the different homes that he has. So kind of to what you're saying, he's got, more than one home. So
Okay, yeah, yeah. So that's what I just had assumed.
yeah,
So thank you,
exactly.
Emily, for pointing that out.
Yeah, I had not known. Let's see. The next one is from Patrick. He says, I really was thrown for a loop when Carmen officially said she was pregnant, as I thought she wouldn't be pregnant, and Johnny cleaned up for nothing. So it was a very pleasant surprise. Also, before the season started, I thought Mike Barnes would be a bad guy, so it was nice to see he's reformed. Did you guys think he was going to be bad? I'll let you answer that first. Oh,
No,
I
I had
guess.
been predicting, yeah, something like more like he would be like reformed. And I think I got it right even for the right reasons, because I was thinking like Johnny and even Chozen, both their lives had been dominated by this fight with Daniel or something. And I was just thinking all along, like, so you got to do something different with, Barnes. His life isn't being, fixated on this one fight with Daniel. So like maybe he went on and had like a successful life. So like he's over it. It's not something haunting from his past. Definitely the thing I got wrong was I thought he was still in karate or something. Like I did no, I don't think anyone predicted furniture. So that's what I got wrong, but I did view him, I assumed he would be different than Johnny and Chozen. Because when you look at those two, Johnny especially, but even Chozen still feels, the lack of honor that he needs to reclaim or something. So, maybe Barnes went on to have a successful life. That was what I was thinking all along.
For me, I didn't put too much thought into it. I actually flip-flopped quite a bit. Like I was just like, oh, just let bad guys be bad guys. So I was on that
Yeah.
boat as well. But I, obviously welcomed the reformed, any villain, to be honest with you, except for like Terry Silver and Kreese. Like they just let them continue being bad because they were already like bad, grown-ups at that
Yeah.
point. They were all teenagers, these guys. The next one comes from Allie from across the pond. She says, on my first watch, I wasn't a fan of these early episodes as I felt they were rushed and had too many storylines. However, on my rewatch, I am noticing so many new details and great lines. Anoush, what did that giant Bond villain want?
Yeah,
Also,
that's a good
I
one.
will, it is a good one. Also, I would like to know how exactly the bed in the guest room was destroyed during the Cobra Kai home invasion.
Yeah, it happened off screen, I think. So
Hmm. Some actual like fighting, jumping on the bed, probably. You're not supposed to jump on the bed, and maybe, someone chased one of the other persons, jumped on like a trampoline
or
and
is
broke
she
it.
insinuating more risque activities?
Yeah,
I don't know.
could be, could be. We,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
we don't know who was missing at that point.
Yeah.
Um, The next one comes from Jenny. She says, I also like the Bond villain line. And my other favorite line from this episode is when Miguel is looking at the octopus necklace and asks how much it costs. And then Eli asks, do you maybe have one with fewer
One with your
tentacles?
tentacles.
Now onto my big grievance, the pregnancy. Throughout the history of sitcoms, whenever ratings were low or a character needed a better storyline, in came a family pet, a new baby, a wedding, new boyfriend girlfriend, or a new cast member to an otherwise
Mm.
close-knit cast of 5 or 6. Now, usually I trust TV3 and all their choices, but I have to say, I'm not feeling good about this baby business. It's like they didn't know what else to do with Carmen, so let's give her a baby. And don't get me wrong, Johnny has some great quotable lines, but he's grown a lot over 5 seasons. Let's not have him be the bumbling idiot new dad for a season, please. We all want him to be the better dad than he was for Robbie, and a classic Johnny moment is bound to happen from time to time. And no one is expecting him to be a dad like Daniel is, but please let us not have Daddy to be Johnny be just comic relief for season 6. Billy deserves better than that. On a side note, it was nice to see all the characters on board for Carmen and Johnny having a baby.
Mhm.
I think they're very well aware of what, like fans would think. I mean, um
It's very similar to what I said. I think
yeah. I
yeah, I don't think it's a matter of like low ratings. I think this is just how they wanted to put the story.
yeah.
I suspect the baby comes somewhere near the end of the series. I don't think we're gonna get the bumbling Johnny fatherhood
Oh yeah.
story
He
per
should have
se. I
learned
guess
some
we'll
things.
I
Yeah.
guess we'll see what they have in mind, but yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I don't like saying like, oh, we need to remember or we need to be reminded. That's why I try to phrase it as like it's worth noting. Like remember, TB3 is also like huge fans,
Mhm.
so like I would I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I'm sure that's also they wouldn't want that same reaction as well,
Mhm.
for Johnny. Johnny is the lead.
Mhm.
Um, but I can see concerns, especially when we're starting to get like sitcom tropes, right? Like she named a few, but we also went through a few,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of early on.
They went through most of them, to be honest with you, and like that was my criticism of the show. It's for the first time the show feels like a sitcom. Like, and I don't mean that positively. I kind of mean that negatively because what's always been great about this show is it's a half hour show. Oh, it's a sitcom? No, it's actually not. It's very different than that. Oh, so it's not funny? Well, no, it's actually really funny, but it's not a sitcom. No, this show's always been hard to describe, right? Like, and that was always what part of what made it so amazing is it is hard to describe. Well, it's a dramedy, it's a half hour, but it's like about karate war or karate soap opera, but it's really, really, really funny. It's got some great moments. Like it's kind of hard to describe, and this is kind of a sitcom plot. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks for that, Jenny. The last bit of feedback comes from Anne. She says, when the episodes dropped at midnight, I started at episode 3, having seen the first 2 eps the night before and loved them. She went to the premiere. Episode 3 on first watch was only so-so, so I was initially disappointed. I thought Rosa was way over the top excited to get breakfast from Miguel. I didn't love the camera work on the girls in the spa. It looked like they shot Sam and Moon by themselves and then pieced them together. It could be I wasn't enamored with the kid storyline as much as I wanted to stay with the adults. Sam in the self-actualization pod was a cool effect, and I'm glad it wasn't because she was in a coma from a silver-inflicted accident like I initially thought when I saw the trailer. It's a shame
wow,
they
jeez,
closed. Yeah, a little dark.
that's dark, man. I
Yeah.
didn't think of that. Wow, like
Let's see. It's a shame they closed the book on Aisha's story because her appearing in Sam's vision would have made a lot of sense. I really enjoyed Sam and Miggy's breakup scene. Sam crying was a great moment of vulnerability, but having Miguel break down and cry 2 episodes in a row would not have been my choice if I was the actor or director. But what do I know? I also wasn't a fan of the pregnancy storyline, and I fully expected Carmen to reveal she was not pregnant, not in capitals, pregnant at the end. I'd like to know how Daniel gets a flashback to Mike introducing himself to Terry in the hot tub when he wasn't there. They could have shown Mike in the dojo to show his relationship to Terry instead. The furniture warehouse is a recycled location, right? There's a BTS shot of Ralph and Billy in front of that brick wall from season 1 or 2. That's season 2 she's referring to. Wait, no, no, no. Season 3, where Johnny and Daniel go see him after he gets released from juvie. Recycled location because that is actually the building where all the sets are. That's actually, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, like a different corner or whatnot, but that could also be where I bumped into Hito when I was visiting.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you have a
I,
shot of it too.
yeah, maybe. The lifts in Ralph's shoes made him look taller than Sean Kanan in a couple of shots, namely when they look out to the showroom from the back room of the store. It's okay to be 5'9", Ralph, really. Mike being a regular Joe was a good choice for the character, who I despised in The Karate Kid 3. Him wanting to apologize several times across the years, but not wanting to trigger Daniel seems like a realistic scenario an ex-bully might face. Best to leave well enough alone. Speaking of wardrobe,
Yeah.
what's up with Daniel in a robe in the sauna? Not thirsty.
I may be the only one that didn't even notice that.
Yeah, maybe we're gonna have to poll our audience here. Not thirsting over Ralph much, but he should have been in a towel at most. Terry showing up to threaten him. Lego Cobra Kai's version of the scene has Terry having only one towel, the one around his neck. What's more
It's
threatening
like
than
Chosen in episode 1,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw my uh was it my tweet of that? I just said, "Hey, he's not wearing a oh." Um, let's see. What's more threatening than confronting your nemesis buck naked like the ancient Greeks?
Mhm.
I love Chosen more and more with each episode. He's both funny and dangerous. Thank you, Anne. Yeah, all great feedback. I'm enjoying this. I'm glad that decided to do this again.
Hmm.
A lot of great stuff.
Yeah, a
So
lot of
that's
good stuff.
it. That's it. I want to thank everybody for leaving all that, taking the time. There was definitely at least a couple brand new names there to me. So it's awesome that we have people in the group that I mean, maybe they recently joined and I didn't see that, since we have other admins and mods. But it's always nice to kind of speak with people that I've never yet met and whatnot. Like today, somebody messaged me on Instagram um who has never messaged me before because I had to accept. And they asked me a question, which I answered. And then they kind of said, hey, but by the way, I'm a fan of what you do. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. And then they just they reacted. You see that? They reacted to that
Oh,
comment.
they reacted. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. So yeah, it's super awesome. Like, oh, obviously, I know people listen, but it's nice to kind of just get that little engagement, like, hey, I checked out an episode, or hey, I've been listening, and that kind of thing. It always makes me feel good. So, all right, watch party. Like, yeah, I kind of teased it a little bit. If you want to talk about that new video that you dropped, a lot of funny sequences. I think you should have added a crane in that scene that we talked about earlier before we recorded. That would have been funny. Um, there's one moment that you freeze on Chozen when is staring at Silver. I'm like, man, that third eye from the crane on his shirt is like really staring at me.
I didn't even think of that one, but
Uh,
yeah, you're talking about the Silver versus Chosen uh fight video that I came out couple days ago now. But yeah, just breaking down the fights, threw in a few moments, a few jokes, just kind of like basically my take on the fight. So which is a great fight. It's hard to pick up the best fight of the season, but that's definitely one of them. And it's a fight I think a lot of people were looking forward to.
oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
up on the channel. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Watch Party
Yeah.
channel. So
So there you go. I mentioned the interview with Gianni. That has released. The next one I have lined up is my youngest interviewee. It's not AJ, I'm sorry, EJ Sanchez, who played little Luis, who could have been Miguel's stepbrother if things had worked out. So it was, it
well, he
was.
knows technically is his stepbrother, right? If they're
Yeah,
married.
no, yeah, well, yeah. I guess you're right because that's still his father, but Hector doesn't know that.
Hector, yeah,
Um,
none of them know that.
Right. Well,
Mhm.
what's fun with the EJ interview, he talks about because I forget that like Robbie was down there too. So like
Mhm.
EJ had met Tanner, so
Mhm.
he talks about like meeting Tanner. He talks about something that Billy gave him. Sholo taught him some math, so some actual fun stories, like I feel people might be like, what, Peter interviewed a 7-year-old? Yeah. Hey, do you know about that show? Kids say the darndest things. It was actually fun. And there was one point at the end where I got to maybe not school him, but I told EJ about like phones before they had internet and color and stuff.
Oh
So
wow.
and so that was kind of funny to kind of see his reaction, kind of like, what? Like he can't fathom it. And his mom, Tiffany, she was there too. So yeah, so that's fun. So EJ, oh, Elvia, who plays Maria, she's also that's not recorded yet, but she's scheduled, and I'm in talks with at least two other people. So yep, interviews are definitely coming. Watch Party, where can people find you if they want to give you a follow, or if they haven't yet already, which I don't know why they haven't at this point.
I'm on YouTube at Watch Party. You search it, you'll find me. Mostly Cobra Kai content, occasionally sprinkling in other stuff, and of course on Twitter and Instagram, both at Watch Party One.
Yeah. Shoot him a tweet or a comment on one of his posts on Instagram, and maybe you'll get a reaction. Who knows?
Mhm.
For me, I am on Twitter as well at Cobra Kai Pod, and also on Instagram at Cobra Kai Companion, Companion with a K. The website is CobraKaiCompanion.com. It is almost updated. I think Gianni, since his interview just came out, is the only one not on the website, but all 121 interviews are all up there. So yeah, the next episode, episode 4, I'm forgetting the title, but that will be our next interview or the next review. Hopefully again next week. And I guess that'll do it. So until the next episode, it's normally 1200, but for you, 2 grand.